Yo, welcome back. It's the random show episode number 64. I think I put it down as episode 64 of the random show. What's good? What's happening? What's going on? Hope you're well wherever this show may be finding you right about now. You know the vibes. Hopefully you're having a good time wherever you may be. It is Friday in the morning today right here. And I thought, you know what? Oh no, it's not Friday morning. It's like Saturday morning now. I thought, you know what? Instead of being outside, being in some sort of version of a K-hole, why not jump on stream and do a little live stream because of the this flipping music's playing in the background. Please forgive me. I thought, why not jump onto the live stream and do something quickly, especially to react to some of the amazing bits of content that have been shared by some of the comedy community today. The number one being Ariel Helwani's incredible performance on Flagrant 2, where I think they did like a live stream for the UFC 281 coming up, where Izzy's going to be facing Alex Pereira, the absolute savage, and they had loads of really good guests on their show. I think they had Aljo, Volk, I think Izzy came, I'm not too sure, but Ariel was on there and he absolutely was throwing bombs, and he might have reminded everybody why he might be the undisputed champion and also the CEO of PF Chang's. But I think he shares the CEO title with Bryan Campbell from Morning Combat. I think they are one and the same. I don't think I would differentiate between the both of them. I think they both do a really good job in terms of just being the people that we kind of all go to as fans to kind of get, you know, the other side of things when it comes to stuff concerning some of these LA comics and whatnot. But yeah, big up Bryan Campbell, big up Ariel Helwani, loads of bits of that coming forward, and of course the standard sort of affair that you know and love from me regarding the random show in terms of other random bits and bobs that I pick up from on the internet, innit? So you know the vibes, you know how it is. As per usual, if you're liking the content, you're liking what you're hearing, please make sure that you're smashing that like button for me. That's all that I ask. That's all that I ask from you. Just smash the like button. If you're not even liking it, just smash the dislike button. Do something, react to something, let people know that you're enjoying some part of this bloody show. That'll be greatly appreciated. And of course we have what you call it, the donation link in the stream chat as well, pinned up there. So if you want to donate and kind of contribute towards my Berlin fund, I'm aiming to go to Berlin, I think the second weekend of December, so that should be pretty fun. So if you want to contribute to my ability to buy copious amounts of Class A drugs and alcohol, then obviously donate to that. You don't have to if you don't want to. And then of course, if you want to subscribe to my channel and come back and see loads more content regarding myself, you can do that also. I'd be greatly appreciated if you want to subscribe. Actually, that would be absolutely beautiful if people could subscribe. But before we talk about the stuff we're going to talk about, I just have to make you aware that I've just updated my flipping Patreon. I don't have many people on there. I'm not doing Tim Dillon bloody numbers on my flipping Patreon, but it's a decent amount. It's an honest amount, right? What's that meme? It's not amazing, but it's honest work, right? I've got little 31, you know, I've got 23 patrons, $31 a month. It's pretty decent, you know. It's not shabby. I'm doing nice, honest, working class work. Is that such a thing as a work? That's the thing I want to get to claim myself. I'm a working class content creator. That's what I am. Toiling away the fields, making content in my spare time, keeping myself up at night, not socializing with real human beings and talking to strangers, you know, any free time that I get. But I absolutely love it and I enjoy it, so I'm not going to stop anytime soon. But I have a new Patreon that I just uploaded on my Patreon account, so check it out if you want to. It's called The Cancellation of Tyler the Creator. Not sure if you guys are aware, but there was a little concentrated effort to try and cancel Tyler because his girlfriend at the moment, Rain, who I think has been pronounced it Rain, but his girlfriend Rain, who is the subject to a lot of the songs on Call Me If You Get Lost, the girl that he basically speaks about in terms of him taking her from his best friend at the time and somebody he worked with closely and falling in love with his best friend's girl. It's a very good album. I recommend it, the entirety of it. One of the tracks that stand out to me is I think the last track, I think it's last, maybe second to last, called Wilshire. That's where he kind of just gets on the mic and just splurts out all these feelings about this girl, and it's kind of done in one take. You can actually hear him in terms of the breaths that he's taking as he's performing the record. It's a really good record, Wilshire, and he basically speaks about his relationship on there. Anyway, some random person on the internet decided to remind everybody that Tyler, I think, is 30 or 31. I think him and A$AP Rocky are the same age, and this Rain girl that he's in a relationship with is either 19 or 21, but either way she's 10 years younger than him, right, or somewhere around that kind of line, and they try to cancel him. So do check it out if you have the time to. My Patreon URL is patreon.com/Agostino. So please check it out if you want to be a patron. It's not too much. It's like I think $1. My opening thing is, I think so, my thing is $1. The opening, what, how do you view it? Let me see if I can view. How do I view my page? Yeah, view as patron or view as public. Let's see. Yeah, it should show. I want to see what my page looks like on the public page of it. But essentially, I think it's a $1. Yeah, so I've got tiers here. I've got $1, $5, and $14.50. So if you want to jump on there and support some of my Patreon efforts, then please do. I'll be greatly appreciative of it if you can. But if you don't, make sure the stream that you're watching right now, this stream right here, make sure that you're smashing that like button if you don't want to be a patron. But if you do, then obviously the details are there. You know how to get it. The link is in the bio as well. Don't delay. Be a Patreon today. But yeah, we've got other things to talk about, loads of things to get involved in. Big up the stream chat, big up the people flooding in their droves, in their hundreds and thousands. Big up Dan Def. Big up Toba Diesel, big up Dark Web Che, big up Chris Hansen in the chat asking if Tyler is gay. But hey, man, it is what it is, isn't it? We don't know what anybody else is. You know what? I actually like that. I like the fact that he doesn't clarify or clear up the confusion or the mystery around whether or not he's gay or not. He just keeps it opaque, keeps it vague, and lets people wonder, because I do miss the times when people didn't clarify things, celebrities. I guess it's one thing because everybody can be in your business nowadays. If you're a celebrity, right, you got no real privacy. I think I mentioned that on my Patreon. There is no such thing as privacy, especially if you're a public figure, or especially if your relationship is out there. There's impossible to kind of keep it secret. But you don't need to clarify details. You don't need to clear things up. You don't need to add things. You don't need to whatever. You don't need to do anything. You just need to let people assume what they want to assume and just keep it moving and just kind of live your life. I think that's the best way to do it. But I think it's really hard to do it when the other person that you're in relationship with is not a public figure. Maybe they're kind of private, which basically this one is, right, with Tyler and Rain. She's basically a private person. Tyler's the flipping, superstar. It's not really her fault that her boyfriend's a flipping superstar. She didn't ask to that life and they fell in love. It is what it is. Let's kind of keep it that way, innit? But yeah, check it out if you want to. But anyway, many things to jump on in and talk about. This is going to be a jam-packed show. So many things I want to speak about. So many things I want to riff on and pontificate on and all that malarkey. And yeah, let's go, man. Let's bloody go. So first things first, I'm sure some of you have been keeping up with what's been happening with what's his face, with what's his bloody name, with Kyrie Irving, right? With the whole affair that he's currently struggling and going through, in terms of him basically sharing a supposed anti-Semitic film or documentary that was on Amazon, and he did it in the kind of around the time when Kanye was getting cancelled for his anti-Semitic, or the things that people deemed to be anti-Semitic, which I would say were anti-Semitic. He didn't really have a real kind of bigger point that he was trying to get at. He was essentially just trying to, speak his piece and say his thing, basically, just to kind of protect himself. But in general, during that whole conversation, Kyrie kind of decided to put his hat in the ring, and it looks like he has maybe suffered the harshest penalty, because he's not a kind of, a global superstar like Kanye West, and he's also not a creative superhouse like Kanye West. So he can't exactly just start his own thing and be okay because his talent's gonna carry him over. Kind of Kanye is kind of okay in that regard. Even if he does get cancelled, he has no bank account, he can't sell Adidas shoes, he can't do Nike collabs, because he's such a creative powerhouse and he has such a fervent, crazy group of fans. He's never really gonna ever be cancelled, so he's pretty much okay. But I remember when I saw this article online, I really was a bit disturbed, and it kind of left an icky taste in my mouth. I can understand not really being happy with Kyrie and saying, hey, he should have clarified his comments. I think when he was given the opportunity to basically say he wasn't anti-Semitic, he didn't really say it. He kind of gave a vague, very Kyrie Irving response in terms of how can I be an anti-Semite if I know my history, sort of thing, which basically alluded to the fact that he might be Israelite himself because of, I don't know, whatever that thing they're into. I don't really want to get into that sort of stuff. But he didn't really clear up and say, hey, I'm not anti-Semite. And that's what basically made people feel offended, right? And I know the apology wasn't the greatest, but then later on he did make an apology. It doesn't matter if it wasn't authentic or real or not. I think most people who get caught doing, you know, naughty things, do they really mean their apology? I don't really think they mean their apology. It's just, you know, they're basically sad and upset and sorry they got caught. And I think the same thing happens, or got caught out, or got kind of consequences. The same thing could be applied to Kyrie Irving. He says what he says, people don't like it, and then he basically makes an apology. They don't like that either. And then I guess the Brooklyn Nets fine him, and they also put this in place, which is the Nets give Kyrie Irving 6 requirements to fulfill before he can return from suspension per report. So it's legitimately, as Dark Web J is saying in the chat, they're basically raking him over the coals, legitimately. And maybe some people would argue that it's maybe warranted, and maybe this is karma, because for the longest time Kyrie's kind of took in basketball for granted, you may say, if you want to be critical of him, how he kind of acts outside of the court, the things he says during the whole COVID thing and whatever, right? But I think in general you should be allowed to say what you want to say to some certain extent, and if what you say is deemed to be quote unquote wrong speak, you should be allowed to apologize and kind of get back to your job, especially if your job is kind of bouncing a basketball. It shouldn't be that deep, really. But obviously they're trying to make an example of him to essentially scare everybody else off from trying to voice their opinions, which you could say is similar to the old practice of flipping buck breaking, right? It continues here. It says, after several days of calls for Brooklyn Nets to suspend Kyrie Irving from promoting a film filled with anti-Semitic tropes on his social media accounts, the franchise went through with it on Thursday, suspending the All-Star guard for a minimum of 5 games without pay. Insane, right? I don't think even flipping those owners of flipping teams get that if they kind of do some naughty stuff. I don't think it happens that way. Anyway, it continues. It says, this came after giving Irving several attempts to apologize for promoting the film and disavow anti-Semitism, as well as the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver issuing a public statement expressing his deep disappointment. In order to reinstate, hear this, right? Hear this. This is something like, even your parents wouldn't do this to you. Even your own parents wouldn't embarrass you this way. You do something messed up, you do something, you know, to flip him, make them embarrassed, to make them angry. Especially if you come from an African household, you might get a belt, you might get a wooden spoon, you might get a slap, you might get grounded for a long period of time, but you don't get these set of flipping requirements you need to be reintegrated back into the family and stuff. It doesn't happen that way. But this was what they said. He needs to 1, apologize and condemn the film that he promoted. 2, make a $500,000 donation to the anti-hate causes. Oh, right. $500,000 is going to make everything right. 3, complete sensitivity training, whatever that means. 4, complete anti-Semitism training, whatever that means, right? It sounds like indoctrination to me. And the fifth, meet the ADL and the Jewish leaders, which is the Anti-Defamation League, I'm assuming. And then 6, meet with team owner Joe Tsai to demonstrate an understanding of your situation. So the owner of the Brooklyn Nets is going to give him a pop quiz about all the things he's learned about flipping Jewish culture and stuff. Maybe ask him if he knows who Anne Frank is. Like loads of them probably don't ask him if he thinks Anne Frank is real, but all those kind of things he's going to be asking him in the flipping exam to prove that he's sorry to the Jewish community. Are you crazy? Are you absolutely crazy? This is what you have to do for, and let's put this into context. What Kanye said was nuts, right? Him essentially waging a war on the Jewish community in an effort to get himself out of that Adidas contract was legitimately insane. And he didn't have any care for anybody else. He wasn't doing it to kind of, you know, to talk about the larger, you know, question about the oversized influence of some people from the Jewish community in the entertainment industry. He wasn't talking about that. He was just being selfish and being a cunt and essentially trying to upset people. What Kanye did was obviously abhorrent, in my opinion. But Kyrie trying to be an edgelord and throwing his hat in a ring and sharing a screenshot of a documentary that exists on Amazon. Why ain't they going for flipping Jeff Bezos? Why ain't they attacking him and saying to him, why have you got this flipping thing on your platform? That's who you should be attacking, not bloody Kyrie Irving. He shares a screenshot of the flipping thing, and now his entire world is coming apart at the seams. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I hate every part of it. And I think Uncle Shannon Sharpe had a very astute take on the whole matter that I wholeheartedly agree with, that I'm going to play for you here, and then we're going to continue on with the rest of the show. So here's Uncle Shannon Sharpe talking about the flipping response to Kyrie Irving, the things he says and the stuff in the media, and then we're going to continue.
don't speak for everybody in the black community, but let me tell you why some of the black people are rallying behind Kyrie and Kanye. It says that because when blacks have a misstep, it seems like we suffer the harshest penalties. It seems like other groups offend blacks, and they never suffer the penalty that Kyrie and Kanye have suffered. It seems like to us, a lot of us, not all, a lot, some of us, a large portion of us, is that black are bound by shackles. We're held more accountable for our actions and our words, where our counterparts are with cobwebs. They're easily brushed aside. Shannon, he apologized. He or she said they were sorry.
Amen.
Why can't we get the same benefit of the doubt?
Amen.
Kyrie was wrong.
Amen.
But I believe Kyrie was wrong, but I also can believe the punishment was excessive.
Hallelujah.
After what President Trump has said about the American Jews versus the Israeli Jews and what he's tweeted and what he's posted, and he ain't got canceled yet. So don't give me that if this would have happened, if that would have happened, because we've seen in instances when they have done things, they've never been canceled.
Exactly.
And that's what we do. They cancel us, no questions asked. There's not enough apology. Kyrie can get on his bended knee. He can come to the people in the most humble way he know how. Bow head, humble heart, and bent knee. And that's still not enough for some.
And you know what, right? This really does speak to the thing that some people say, which I don't necessarily agree with. But some people do say you should never apologize. And I don't really agree with that sort of sentiment. I think if you upset certain people, if you say something and you didn't mean it to come out hateful, or you didn't intend it to be hurtful, or you didn't know it affect a certain group of people, whatever it may be, I think there should be an apology, especially if you don't mean it, for the most part. But the issue with apologizing in the cancel culture world is that for the most part, if you know, as much as I don't believe cancel culture exists, because I think in general, especially nowadays, if you're a prominent figure, if you've got your own thing going on, it's impossible to get cancelled, because if you have fans, they're always going to back you. It's not like you basically rely on the institution or corporations to hold you up and prop you up. You've got your own fan base that's going to ride with you, so you never really get cancelled in a real sense of the word. But the process, the actual thing with cancellation nowadays, it feels like, is that it's less about education and clarity, and it's actually about cancellation. You made one mistake, one misstep that we didn't like, and now it's over for you. There is no redemption, there is no forgiveness, there is no way back. It's always you got cancelled and that's it. And it's ridiculous, because in our everyday life we all make mistakes. Oh, super chat came through.
M1 deep. I don't need a group to back my words.
Yep, 100%. Big up. Who is this? Big up Rye. Who's the person's name? Rycanosis. Big up Rycanosis for the $1.99 super chat. I'm one deep. I don't even went backwards. 100% agree with that. But I think in general, the issue I have with cancel culture in general is the fact that there is no redemption. I'm all for the public scolding of people if they make mistakes, because I think sometimes people don't get how they're accountable for their actions, especially on social media. People say the most crazy, off-kilter, nutty stuff because they know there's not going to be any real-world consequences to what they say. So sometimes if you want to publicly rake somebody over the coals, publicly shame them, embarrass them, remind them of their mistake, cool, no problem. But let me have a way back. That's all I want. Let me have a way back. But there seems to be no way back for some people. It's just really, really bizarre. And for whatever reason also, in America, there's this weird thing that they have with black athletes, where they look at them as flipping cultural thought leaders and all that malarkey. And I don't really get that in that side of things. I think maybe there's too much pressure on them in terms to say things and to have a position. They can't just enjoy playing their sport, you know, enjoy the riches that come with it and just live. They have to kind of stand for something, and if they don't stand for that, it does this. Maybe that kind of plays into it. Maybe it's not, because Kyrie is the guy that was believing in the flat earth thing, and generally he's a bit of a skeptic and some reason conspiracy theories. But so what? Can't you be? Don't you want to see mavericks and nutty people on the court anyway? Kyrie, I don't watch basketball, but I know Kyrie to be an amazing dribbler of the basketball, right? He's got incredible handles, people say. He's really good, especially for somebody of his height as well. He's not the tallest guy, but he's very athletic, very gifted with his dribbling and whatnot. Don't you want that guy to be a little bit off kilter anyway? That's what I want my athletes to be. I don't want to be flipping, no offense to him, but LeBron James, right, who came out the other day and criticized Kyrie, and now he's walking it back because he's seen where it can go, because essentially LeBron is kind of the flavor you know, is the poster child of the NBA, but he could also say one thing and it could be over for him also. So, you know, kind of going out there and publicly chastising your colleagues or teammates or people in your community is awful in that regard. But he obviously did it because he's got his own family to look after, understand. But I don't know, man. I hate all of it. I think it's all horrible. I think they're doing way too much. The guy made a mistake. He said sorry. Okay, you don't believe he said sorry, but who do you believe that says sorry? I'm sorry, you know, especially nowadays in the public figures, they mean what they say what they mean. It is what it is. Let him get back to basketball and let's get over it, because this is really, really insane. Like, people need to just relax and chill out, because this is nutty beyond belief, in my opinion. But again, what do I know? What's the chat saying? Uche, big up Uche in the chat. She said, this is so mature. Exactly right. Like no ever athlete got into college being smart. Silly as hell for them to take what it says to heart like this. I agree. Ryan Kenosis said, I'm glad I never went to Twitter. True. Dark Web J said, did they do this to Mel Gibson? Exactly. And that's, you know what, as well, I have to say, I think, I'm okay with double standards if you just acknowledge them. I'm okay with double standards if you acknowledge them. I'm okay with it. Just acknowledge that double standards exist. Don't insult my intelligence by telling me they don't exist, but then there's different consequences for different people if they do the same crime or they do something within the same area. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I hate that kind of stuff. It really grinds my gears when there's that's kind of, because it legitimately is an insult to my intelligence, because I'm seeing what's happening. I can understand what's going on, and you're telling me, no, so it isn't happening that way, it's happening this way. No. Treat everybody the same so that we all know where the rules are, we all know where the kind of guardrails are, and we can know how to play within them or play around them, whatever it may be. But don't punish me harshly for one thing but then do the complete opposite and overlook what the other person does. That's horrendous. I absolutely hate that. I think it's horrible, which is why I think in general the best way to kind of go about life, especially if you want to be a public figure, or especially if you're an athlete, I think you should just kind of keep stum and do an OBJ. Just live for the sport, enjoy your free time. Don't care what anyone says about what you do, the dances you do, how you get tatted, who you hang around with, the orgies you take part in or whatever. Just do you. Don't get involved in any kind of political, cultural, conversations, because in the end it always ends up biting you in the bum. And then the people that you hope to be defending you, people especially from your own community, will be the first to kick you when you're down. It's probably best just to kind of ignore it and not take part. Honestly, it really is, because anything else is a complete waste of time. No one's ever going to back you the way you think you think they should back you anyway when it's come to this sort of stuff. But annoying. Anyway, moving on. There's this other thing that was pretty cool. Oh my god, I just saw this headline. Have you seen this? Look at that headline. Alec Baldwin sues Russ crew for negligence, wants to clear his name. Yo, Alec Baldwin is the most brazen white man I've ever come across in my entire life. He accidentally murked somebody on set, and just the other day, he posted a flipping TBT anniversary post of her. Like, bruv, you killed that woman, inadvertently or not. You bloody killed her, and now here you are, flipping what, wishing her a flipping what, happy anniversary of her death or something. Like, the guy is insane. The fact that he wants to clear his name and sue the crew of that flipping show is absolutely insane anyway. But Jesus Christ, man, the brazenness on this white man is just amazing. The cojones on him. And cojones is Spanish, right? Because he's got a Spanish wife. Well, no, she's not Spanish. She's from Middle America, but she pretended she was from Spain. That girl was flipping amazing to his wife. Oh my god, what an incredible story that one, isn't it? Right? She flipping cosplays as Spanish her entire life, but she's actually from like New Hampshire or something. Like fully white, no Latin, no Spanish about her whatsoever. Incredible. Anyway, culture deadline: Chris Rock to be the first comedian to perform live on Netflix. This is big news, because this is going to be the next big frontier for stand-up comedians to complain about on podcasts. Because at the moment, they're complaining that they all don't get hours anymore. Netflix is only offering them 30 minutes now. And the common thing that everyone's doing now is the Brendan Schaub thing, right? Is that you lie about getting offers from all these big streaming companies, and then you just put it out on YouTube because you're self-conscious that you're not getting offers from big streaming companies, even though you shouldn't care about streaming company offers, because YouTube is the way to go anyway, especially if you're you're not that famous of a comedian anyway. You're never going to become, you know, Sebastian Maniscalco or whatever. Do you know what I mean? That's not in your flipping future anyway. So why not just put it out on YouTube, reach your own fans, have the metrics there in black and white, make some money off the back of it, and then use that flipping show to do other deals, isn't it? What is the problem? Like, I never understood that Brenda Shaw thing of lying that you got deals anyway. What, it doesn't matter. Like, deals aren't cool. They don't do nothing for you. If you're Brenda Shaw, actually getting a deal with Netflix might actually do you more harm than good, because people will compare you to other good people on Netflix, which is not fair. You're not as good as the other guys. So maybe just play on YouTube where there's everybody from an open micer to a flipping 30-year veteran on there. That probably is the best place to promote yourself. But anyway, this is going to be the new thing they're going to be complaining about. Do you get offered a special from Netflix that's live? For us, the viewer, I have to say, I think this is best, because I have to be honest. I don't know about you guys in the chat. Be honest in the chat. Be honest, be honest, be honest. What is the last special you watched in full, one sitting? What's the last comedy special you watched in full in one sitting? If I have to think about it, I would say it might be the special that I think is on the screen there, that Chris Rock one. Is it the Chris Rock one? No, it wasn't. It was the last Dave Chappelle one, actually. That's when it was. Whatever the last Dave Chappelle specials were on Netflix, that was the last one I watched all the way through in one sitting. The rest of them I started, hadn't finished. Tom Segura's one, Burt Kreischer's one. Which one as well? I can't think of any more. I think that was it, really. Those was the ones I kind of started and never ever finished. But honestly, man, like, this might be a good way to kind of go with it, especially some of the bigger names, because if you're paying Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan upwards of 10 million, if you're Netflix, you have to make your money back somehow, and the only way to make it back is to make sure people are watching it. And again, they're big comedians, but you need people to be sitting down watching it when it first drops, and the best way to do it is obviously to do it live. So interesting to see how it works, because I still think there is something to be said for that collective experience. Everyone kind of tweeting about it in real time and whatnot, like a sports game, kind of helps and adds to it. Like I mentioned previous times before, I went to see Chris D'Elia perform one time at the Laugh Factory many years ago. This is around a time where I didn't really think he was funny at stand-up at all, but I actually liked him on podcasts. I thought he was hilarious, but I didn't really like his stand-up. But then when I saw him in person in the Laugh Factory, I kind of got it, and I understood it is two different things to see stand-up on internet, on YouTube, and to also see it in real life. It's completely different. People that you probably wouldn't find funny at all at home, you find them way funnier in real life, with a couple of drinks down you, with a couple chicken fingers in your belly, with maybe a cute chick or boy next to you. It kind of adds to the whole experience. So this makes a lot of sense to me. So it says Netflix is utilizing its move into live streaming technology, with Chris Rock becoming the first person to test it out. Rock will perform in a global live stream event in 2023. It comes after deadline revealed in May that the streamer is experimenting with this technology. Interesting. It's interesting to do this because they just also announced that they're going to have a tier of Netflix subscriptions where it's cheaper, but you get ads, right? So I could imagine them utilizing those ads during the live stream, which would be a bit of a bummer. You have to sit down and watch the ad, but that would be a good way to kind of sell the ads also to the companies, and get higher bids for them and make some money back, because Netflix at the moment isn't making money. They're not making good original content. So maybe this is a good way to go about it. It was noted that upon Chris Rock, sorry, what? It was noted upon that Rock had another Netflix special to come out after his infamous slap incident from Will Smith at the Oscars. Rock has been out of his ego death tour over the last few months, and during a show in London promised that he would discuss more about his Oscar experience on Netflix. That's a good way to promote. It's funny, isn't it? Anything that happens to you, any mishap, whether it's good or bad, can be monetized and used to your advantage. There is no such thing as bad if you're a celebrity. A bad event, a distressing event, it doesn't really exist. Maybe it exists in the moment. You can be distressed and caught up and sad about it, but ultimately that sad event is going to put food in your kid's stomach, is going to pay for their private school, is going to maybe pay for a first car, holiday, engagement ring, like your holiday, your Balenciagas, right, your Givenchy's. Like it's gonna help you out. So you get slapped by Will Smith, you're suddenly thinking, yes, I'm gonna be a millionaire for life. It also marks Chris Rock's second special after Tambourine in 20 years. Tambourine was really good. That was one with the lights that came up from the ground. I think that was the one that who's that guy did it, helped him out producing it. Bo Burnham. I think Bo Burnham produced it for him. I'm not too sure. If am I right or not? I wish Bo Burnham would go and Joe Rogan, man. I think he'll be good. I know ideologically they're not, you know, aligned, but I think that'll make for a really good conversation. It continues to say he also appeared on Netflix Joke Festival alongside Dave Chappelle early this year. Chris Rock is one of the most iconic and important comedic voices in our generation, said Robbie Prawl, the Netflix Vice President of Stand-Up Comedy and Formats. That's a brilliant title, isn't it? Netflix Vice President of Stand-Up Comedy and Formats. And comedy formats. That's a brilliant title. We're thrilled. What do you think he gets paid, right? That's a proper salary. We're thrilled that the entire world will be able to experience a live Chris Rock comedy event and are part of the Netflix history. This will be an unforgettable moment, and we also honor that Chris Rock has carried this torch. This is interesting, man. I'd like to see this kind of, you know, go into sports and stuff as well. That'd be flipping cool. Going forward, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this works. But for sure, be prepared. If you listen to comedy-based podcasts, you're going to hear a lot of comedians be complaining when some of them get offered live ones, certain don't, because this is only reserved for the big dogs, right? The ones that actually have the numbers to back it up, like the Chris Rocks, the Dave Chappelles, the Fluffies, the Joe Rogans. Who else is a big one? That New Zealand girl that everyone hated, that she does horrible, but I'm sure she's going to pull in numbers. Even the likes of Amy Schumer and stuff, right? Tiffany Haddish may get one. Kevin Hart, all those people are probably going to get live ones. So be prepared to hear comedians complaining on podcasts because they don't get live flipping Netflix deals when some of them are flipping struggling to get 30-minute deals. But it doesn't really matter anyway, because I think YouTube is the way to go forward. But big up Chris Rock, innit? What's the chat saying? Rock's going to kill this as Dark Web. You've got 40 people in the chat, more people than Bryan Callen's wedding. Big up EV, brilliant. Honestly, man, Bryan Callen's wedding, 40 people in the chat. Honestly, I know they eloped, I get it, but I don't really believe it, because I don't think you can elope if you're a celebrity of that kind of ilk and you're, you know, narcissist of that kind of level. It's no such thing on this eloping. You still probably put out a flyer or share the Instagram story, but still, the fact that all his friends didn't turn up to his wedding is hilarious, man. They've got, honestly, I've said it before in the other stream, but THICCC, say what you want about THICCC, but they gave all those guys an unlimited opportunity to promote themselves, from Will Sasso to THEO to Chris D'Elia. I know they're all talented anyway in their own right, but you know, they gave them the platform to promote themselves, to get bigger, to find new fans, all that great stuff. And you'd imagine the one moment when you need your friends, right, legitimately need them, they're not there for you. Don't get me wrong, I don't think somebody who's 60 years old and on their second marriage should be like crying that their friends don't come to their wedding. It's like being bothered that your friends aren't coming to your birthday party when you're 72. Like, relax, you're not 18 anymore, chill out, no one cares about your birthday. But still, if you care, your friends should care in a way, right? They should just be like, ah, man, okay, let me go help him out. It's like taking your friend to the airport. You don't like to do it, you don't want to do it, but because they asked and they're your friend, you begrudgingly agree. So the fact that none of them ever kind of crossed their mind to cancel a show, like to go and see, to go to their friend's wedding party, was hilarious, man. But I've said it before, I get the feeling, this is just my own theory, based on absolutely nothing, right? Based on just like vibe and whatnot. But I get the feeling that Bryan Callen's new wife, whoever she is, I don't care about her name, don't want to know who she is, because I'm not involved in all that, you know, stuff concerning families. I keep away from all of that completely. But I have a feeling that lady doesn't like Brendan Schaub. I have a feeling she doesn't like Brendan Schaub, and maybe doesn't like some of Bryan Callen's other friends. I don't think so. I've got a feeling, which is why maybe there isn't that closeness anymore between Brendan and Callen anymore, because essentially Callen's got a newborn baby, he's got a new family to look after, and if you're not friends with the wife, it's hard to really justify leaving her to go hang out with your friend, because you know she doesn't like you hanging out with him in the first place. Do you know what I mean? And I don't really see any love being spewed out of Brendan Schaub's lips towards a new wife. He doesn't really speak about her in glowing terms, you know? He kind of jokes about her in a weird way, makes her out to be a gold digger. He doesn't really know her too well, I'd imagine, right? We don't really hear too much about her either on the stream or on the podcast. So I don't know, I get the feeling Bryan Callen's new wife isn't a fan of Brendan Schaub. This is my just gut feeling about this, which might explain why he wasn't running to try to go to the party. And because also, you know, it'll probably be all of Bryan Callen's actual real friends and family, no celebrities, no Rogans, no Schultzes, no smooching comedy people. So there's no point of being there with those guys if they ain't got opportunities to post an Instagram picture in it. So that's my only little inkling and feeling I've got there. But anyway, what's everyone saying in the chat here? How the hell is Chris Rock going to perform live when all this time he's taken up writing Brendan's killer material? Big up Nick G. Oh my god, mate. Honestly, Brendan legitimately thinking that people think that other people write his jokes was one of the funniest things I've seen. To give him some blind though, do you think I've never seen anyone accuse him of that, honestly. Maybe I've seen people say he definitely don't write, he definitely no, people no, it's impossible. We've watched some of his stand up on the stream. It's terrible, man. Even some of these bits he does, like crowd work stuff, is horrendous. You know he did it because it's super bad. The jokes that he has that are kind of good, they're usually the ones that are stolen, right? Or the premise is stolen, like the fajita joke and shit. But for the most part, the stuff that he does and shares on social media, he writes. We know it because it's terrible. So the fact that he thinks we think Kevin Hart or other illustrious comics write his stuff is hilarious, man. But yeah, big up everybody. Big up Gimme, Ski Fingers, let's go. Big up, big up, big up. Big up Drew, everybody in the chat that's hanging out. Big up. I appreciate you, all of you guys. I appreciate you, all of you. Appreciate all of you. What are we gonna do here? Continue on. We did that. We did this. Oh, my ears are hurting me. Oh, continuing on quickly. Can somebody explain to me what's the deal with absolute dorks in their own right, people you would maybe describe as LOLCOWS, really hating Elon Musk? What is the deal with that? So I think of somebody like Wings of Redemption, Darkside Phil, aka Phil Brunel, and Hassan Arbi. All three of these guys have a real stick up their ass about Elon. Like, they hate him. They think he's dumb. They think he doesn't know what he's doing. They think he's a joke. What is it about people who are LOLCOWS in their own right, who have a limited range of intelligence, who probably think they're smarter than what they actually are, really disliking and kind of sticking the boot into someone like an Elon Musk? What is it about him that kind of gets them annoyed? Because I would have thought people like that would have liked Elon, because he's like the idol of all dorks and geeks and stuff, right? Guys who are never cool in school can maybe look at Elon and think, oh, if I'm smart and I'm not cool, maybe I can become Elon Musk too in the future. I don't know what it is, but there's something about those guys that they don't like. But I guess the reason behind it is, obviously you guys have all seen what's happening in Twitter, right? There's been this crazy events happening over the last few flipping weeks or days. It feels like Elon coming in, firing a bunch of people to keep the company lean and mean, then allegedly trying to rehire a bunch of people because he maybe fired the wrong ones, then setting up this subscription thing for the verified badges, then the whole confusion around whether you should be verified and official. If you're like, imagine you're like Nestle, should your account have an official badge on it and a verified, or should it just be verified? Then the verified badge itself being a difference between one that was given to you because you're a notable figure and one that you bought, and the quote unquote discrimination and kind of bullying of people online about that sort of stuff. And then I think the latest stuff now is the stuff about them allegedly maybe going bankrupt, right? I think it's in this post actually, courtesy of The Verge, inside Elon Musk's first week with Twitter employees, and there's a section here where it says, so here's him saying that maybe they want to be offering bank services going forward. So these are all options that he's kind of exploring for Twitter in order to kind of make money, right? That's basically what he's trying to do. Because at the moment, I guess they're not making any money and they're struggling. And then there's another one here, more detail about the banking stuff. What circumstances could lead to declare bankruptcy? He says, we just definitely need to bring in more cash than we spend. If we don't do that, then there's a massive negative cash flow. Then bankruptcy is not out of the question. That is a priority. We can't scale to 1 billion users and take massive losses along the way. That's not feasible. I don't think we will. That's interesting. The only part I think that's interesting to ask questions about, or maybe to criticize him, is on why did he want to buy Twitter knowing that the business of Twitter wasn't where it needed to be? I know he had a real bee in his bonnet about the number of bots or spam accounts or something. I forgot it was some sticking point he was trying to wrangle on to get him out of the deal, because maybe he submitted a deal as a troll. Then when he looked at the business bits of it, he realized it wasn't a good deal. He maybe overbid on it and then tried to pull out. But why didn't he look at all these things before buying it? Why wasn't there a due diligence done or some sort of accounting of this done from afar. Maybe you can't get all the details, but there should have been some insight into maybe what you're walking into. That's maybe the only slight criticism about it. But when I show you the other bits and pieces, you'll see what I mean in terms of the overreaction. Then he came in and changed the Twitter's remote work policy. Elon Musk is not a fan of remote work. But to be fair to these guys, I did read another account where they said essentially Twitter has always been remote work based, even when it wasn't fully enacted. I think the full Twitter remote work thing happened during the pandemic. I remember Jack Dorsey making a big point of it because obviously the pandemic happened and he wanted to empower people from around the world to work. And then obviously there's that whole adage around, you know, finding the best talent no matter where they are to come and work for his company, blah, 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 blah. But somebody made a point, I think it was one of the higher ups in Twitter, something along the lines of Twitter's always been, which I didn't know this, they've always had an element of working from home. It's always been a remote, maybe it's not fully, but it's always been, not everybody maybe had remote ability, but there was some employees there that always been working remote since it first started. So to go from working like that to then suddenly having to work 40 hours a week in the office was insane. So it's kind of a bit unfair that he's done that. But to be fair also, you know how, you know, as much as I don't disagree with Elon Musk's opinion with remote work, I think it's pretty archaic how he kind of goes about it. And I also think not having remote work should be specific to some industries. If you're running a car company, an automobile company, maybe it's beneficial to have people in the flipping factories making the cars. I get it. Having everybody remote might not help and you need to get decisions and work through stuff quickly on the go. I understand. But working for a company like Twitter, surely you can do that anywhere. You don't need to be in the office to do that. But he wasn't a fan of remote working. He says as follows: now, if somebody with contribution is so significant that they can overcome the communication difficulties of being remote, then they should absolutely remain at Twitter, but it will be a higher bar. They have to be much better to overcome the communication issue being remote. There's plenty of people at Tesla and SpaceX that do work remotely, but it's not on an exception basis for the exceptional people. So he's already coming in and kicking everybody's chairs and shit. And I totally understand that if it doesn't work for some people, that's the new philosophy at Twitter. Let me be crystal clear: if people do not return to the office if people do not return to the office when they are able to return to the office, they cannot remain at the company. End of story. He sounds like a fucking cunt. Imagine working for Elon. I like him, but he sounds like a fucking cunt. He says that basically you can show up in the office and you can don't show up at the office. Resignation accepted. End of story. What are people saying in the chat? Are people going off on me because I called Hassan Albi a flipping local? Isn't he a local? Look at Teju. Teju is flipping out on me, mate. What's happening? Why? Don't you guys think Hassan Albi's a local? Or is that offensive to say? Are some of you guys Hassan Albi stans or fanboys? Why is everyone attacking me? I thought this was widely accepted. This is the same guy that is like, socialism is going to cure all the ills of life and stuff, and he's living in a multi-million-dollar mansion, but doesn't see the irony in it in the slightest, right? The contradiction in the things that he says and the thing that he does in the slightest. This is the guy. Again, I don't hate the guy, but you know, you're dripping in flipping Balenciaga and telling people to give all their money to social causes, yet you're not doing any of that yourself. Like, and what has he actually done in the real world to impact things? Can someone tell me that also? And he gets very emotional about really slight, small things. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I think he's the definition of a local personally. I know he's very successful and makes a lot of money. I understand that. Clearly he's got something right. Successful, makes a lot of money, is his own boss, has influence, blah, blah, blah. Congratulations to him, but I still think he's a local. Come on, man. And it's good to laugh at him. Like, if you can laugh at AOC, you have to be able to laugh at Hassan Albi. I'm sorry. You have to laugh because he's basically the male version of flipping AOC. And he's what? How old is he? Is he like 31? Like, you know, painting his nails and wearing pearl necklaces? Like, come on. Anyway, I'm surprised I'm getting ripped about that, to be honest. But hey, horses for courses. Elon says, oh, this is a horrible take. Elon thinks Twitter's going to be a potential, and Twitter's potential as a TikTok-like platform for short-form videos. Oof, I don't want that. Right, but right now, content creators cannot post a length of video that would like to post, and they cannot monetize it, which means they cannot pay the bills. I like the idea of Twitter being monetizable. I think at the moment, people like myself, I make content for YouTube, but then I have in mind that I might, I have content for YouTube, and I might make some content maybe specific for TikTok, but I don't make anything specifically for what you call it. I don't make anything particular for Twitter. So maybe the fact that they're going to be able to monetize it might be a good thing for the platform overall. That's a good idea. I like that. They're not like super complicated things, they're basics. We're not trying to put YouTube out of business, but I'm just saying, do we really need to give YouTube a whole bunch of free traffic? Maybe not. So at least give creators the option, if they would like to put their video on Twitter and earn same amount as they would, or maybe slightly more than YouTube or Twitter or TikTok or whatever the case may be. I was actually flipping through Twitter videos the other day. Once you go into a kind of full screen mode, you can just start flipping through videos. It's actually not bad. I was like, okay, well, it's pretty good. I think building on that makes sense. Yeah, I've just tried that about it. Have any of you tried it? It's a pretty good feature on Twitter. If you go on, if you have a video that you're watching and you put it on full screen and you just swipe up, you can just keep watching different videos that the algorithm will feed you, similar to like a TikTok. It works actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Let's continue here. How would you start the creator flywheel if we don't have a video ads to begin with? This is where subscriptions will come in, because YouTube also has a subscription, but they don't show ads and subscriptions. So I think this is the case where it does make sense to start spending some money and at least matching slightly better than matching creators. We get that. And then what's the other bit that happened recently? Oh, and I think there's something about what was the thing? Something about they're gonna be losing money. Right? Is it something about that? Something about they're going to be losing money or something, that they're going to be having fines or whatnot? I think this is the article that they're talking about. I'm not going to read the entire thing. But anyway, going back to what I said before, why is it that all LOLCOWS hate Elon Musk? Again, the dark side feel Wings of Redemption doesn't really a fan of Elon Musk. And then the Hassan Arby thing is fucking interesting and very bizarre, his takes on it, right? So this is his social media profile. In my opinion, I don't see how you do hate, like, it's hard. How can you like someone like this personally? Like, look at this. Look at the banner. And here we have a wealthy socialite being pampered while he claims to be for the downtrodden. And look at the flipping picture. Like, come on, man. A brief message to all my haters. Come on, man. This guy's insufferable. I don't know how people could be like, okay, anyway. The reason why I said I think I'm really curious as to why people like him don't like Elon is this really strange interpretation of the events that he had here, which I didn't really understand. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, there it is. Like, takes like this. What do you guys think? Like, because Wings of Redemption and Dark Side Phil say the same things about Elon. It's basically the same, similar type of thing. One, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are showing the world that meritocracy is indeed a lie, and that they didn't work harder or smarter than everyone else, contrary to popular opinion. It's great. How does that even make any sense? So is he basically saying that Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg aren't smart, they're not business savvy in any way, shape or form, they don't have talent or anything? And how did they get to where they got to then? I don't understand that whole adage. You can definitely argue that maybe, especially given the current circumstances, there is a question behind whether or not flipping Mark Zuckerberg is maybe a good business operator, right? Because you see that stuff with the metaverse and you think to yourself, that metaverse shit that he's banking all the money on is garbage, right? The flipping animation that they use looks terrible. It looks like something that you'd see in a Nintendo 64, right? Like, have you guys seen it? It's flipping horrendous. Let me try and get it up on the screen. Mark Zuckerberg metaverse. It's absolutely horrible to look at. So there is an argument to be had for maybe Mark Zuckerberg maybe not being the best business operator in the world, maybe not the greatest CEO in the world, because for whatever reason he can't see the blind spot around this, right? He can't see that this doesn't look good, this looks terrible, and nobody is ever going to replace real life with these flipping scary Nintendo 64 Dreamcast-esque graphics metaverse things. No one's going to do that, right? For some reason. But these guys don't necessarily agree with it. It's really strange. I'm not too sure why. That's fair. And it has to be, like I said before, there needs to be an argument to be had also for Elon Musk. Is he as good as a business operator as he thinks he is? Because, or thinks he is, not thinks he is, thinks he is, for buying Twitter, not doing any due diligence, walking into it blind and thinking he could just like haphazardly make it work by enacting all these changes that he put into place. Even just the firing and the rehiring of people is incredibly embarrassing and makes you look like a bit of an amateur. But to say that deserve their positions, or they don't. There isn't anything admirable or impressive about Elon running a space company, a company just digging tunnels and maybe not going anywhere, but he's doing them anyway. You know, what's the other thing he's doing? He's doing the thing with the satellites, with the internet and shit. He's got obviously the electric cars with Tesla. Like, that's impressive, right? And obviously Mark Zuckerberg, maybe he stole Facebook from the Volk twins, no, whatever their twins or whatever their names are, but still he's running it the way he's running it. Like, there's other things that he's basically acquiring underneath the banner of Meta, or formerly known as Facebook. Like, to suggest that they're just like any guys who just lucked into stuff is weird. And also, isn't Hassan Abi the guy who's the nephew of the guy from Young Turks? Isn't there something to be said for that? Is no level of meritocracy there in the slightest? Isn't he essentially what would they call it? Isn't he a nepotism baby? I wouldn't say he is, because I don't think having a couple of appearances, or appearing on the Young Turks and then going off to build your own name and have people follow you and become Hassan Abi, the guy that people rate and stuff, that's a good achievement. That's a great achievement. He obviously doesn't owe everything to his flipping uncle, or whatever it may be, but still, there's no denying that leg up definitely helped to get where he needs to get to. So it's just a strange thing, just a strange way to look at it. I don't really understand it, but a lot of flipping LOLCOWS don't like Elon Musk and have a lot of things to say about the fact that he didn't work hard for it, or isn't a hard worker, isn't talented at what he does. It's very, very strange. The stuff with this Lely and company who make insulin, and then the fake troll account saying they're going to be offering free insulin, and then they came out 2 hours later and quickly shut it down, was absolutely hilarious. And now I think, look at him. He's calling Elon Musk the dumbest person on this platform. Okay, so if Elon Musk is the dumbest person on this platform, what does that make him? Is he the smartest? Is Hassan Abi the smartest person on Twitter if Elon is dumb? I understand you don't look. Can we agree? Maybe Elon isn't the best CEO in the world. He's not the best business owner or operator. That's fair, but it's hard to run a business. I don't know if any of you guys have tried to sell something to people, or have tried to run your own business, or even me. I've had a brief experience of being the key holder, the supervisor in a retail store, right? I was a supervisor in a Dr. Martens. I worked my way up from being a weekend staff member, then I became a full-time retail staff member, and then I went and battled it out with another guy and got the role to become the supervisor, the guy that was responsible for for making up the flipping lunch rota, for making sure they open the store and close the store, for cashing up, like crazy stuff, right? And guess what? I got a £1 flipping promotion, £1 bump in my pay. I think it was like £7 an hour, and I went up to £8 an hour. Like, and that wasn't even being the boss. I was just a supervisor. I was kind of like the manager, but not really. I wasn't even assistant manager. Just the kind of person that had the keys, do the cash up, whatever. And it was hell, like hell. And I would never do it again. I think that was the first time my illusion of being an entrepreneur was burst. I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I want to have my own business and do my own thing and whatever it may be, but I don't want to be an entrepreneur, like zero, because running things and being a boss of people and running a company is very difficult. So maybe they're not good at it, but it's not easy to be good at running a business or to be an entrepreneur. It's hard, especially if you're doing things in public, in real time, whatever it may be. In the financial crisis is difficult. So to suggest somebody is dumb, it doesn't make any sense. Technically, you can't be dumb because you have 17 different companies. It just doesn't make sense. But you could be bad at what you do, but not dumb. But hey, big up Hassan Abi. What's the chat saying? Because I feel like I upset some people here who are fans of him. Dark Web J says Elon is just a weirdo. Yeah, I agree with that. He definitely is. Coiler, what's Coiler saying coming in? Oh shit, back-to-back random shows. I'm gonna bust. Yeah, man, let's go, bust gang. Hello, LOLCOW, bro. Elon is a bigger LOLCOW than Hassan. Look, TEDU, man. Honestly, I'm not saying it to be disrespectful and stuff. I just assumed everyone agreed with the Hassan Abi interpretation. But if you're a fan of him, fair play in it. I don't necessarily. Could Elon be a LOLCOW? Yeah, I could see how people could think Elon's a LOLCOW. I understand it, but I just don't agree that he's dumb. That's what I don't agree with. I don't agree with the idea that this guy's dumb. You can't be dumb and be Elon Musk. It's impossible, really. Maybe you might be bad at business. You might be a bad boss, bad CEO, bad operator, like I said, but not dumb. Come on. Can we have a vibe cleanse and crap out on Brendan to get the chat calm again? Yeah, everyone's going crazy. I never knew I had people that watch my stream that also watch Hassan Arbi. I would never imagine that in a million years. I don't see any cross pollination between our viewer base in general. But you know, I'm not complaining. It's just interesting to hear that from some of you guys. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about comedy stuff. I do agree with Teju, and I'm going to jump off of this and talk about some comedy stuff. So let's talk about some comedy stuff. Let me get some stuff up here so we can talk about, where is it here? Okay, let's do this. So, first clip we're going to feature is THEO Vaughn talking to Mike Rowe, the legendary Mike Rowe. Obviously, you know Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs, absolute legend. First things first, isn't it interesting that THEO Vaughn is able to consistently get absolute banger guests on his podcast? And they seem to always have a great time on there because he's just, you know, he's affable, he's easy to talk to, he's funny, he's laid back. It always seems to happen. But I'm also impressed of his ability to just interview just random people. He'll interview a guy that works as a plumber, a guy that works in a morgue, you know, a single mom. Like, he just has an ability to bring out the best in people that he interviews, no matter if they're famous or just a regular Joe Schmo. And it seems to work for him. And all those shows, all episodes do numbers because people legitimately want to hear him speak to different people, and also just want to hear him speak in general, because it always sort of works that way. So it's pretty cool to see the difference in the level of guests that THEO gets compared to what they get over in The Fighter and the Kid. Brendan Schaub and all those guys get terrible guests now for reasons unbeknownst to me. Maybe I know why. Maybe it's because of Bryan Callen's, you know, allegations and the whole Brendan Schaub, you know, Annie and Kalila thing. But for some reason, Brendan Schaub's, The Fighter and the Kid, guests have been terrible, innit? It seems like they're getting all the people who have been cancelled, right? They got that TJ Miller guy, they had Dane Cook on, everyone there has kind of been somewhat slighted or cancelled by the public. They seem to get on. Oh yeah, I think yes, Uche said here as well, Santino. Yeah, Santino gets good guests too. Yeah, Andrew Santino and Ari Shafir are two very, very underrated interviewers. And I think sometimes this may sound counterintuitive and go against the things I said before, but I think even someone like a Bert Kreischer, especially if he's interviewing a fellow comedian, because he loves to talk about comedy and inside baseball stuff and politics and whatnot, I feel like Bert Kreischer, Ari Shafir, and Andrew Santino are actually really underrated interviewers. Honestly, really think so. They're really good interviews, especially Ari Shafir. His podcast is ridiculously underrated. Maybe because he doesn't do it so consistently as others or whatnot, but he's really good. And also, like I said, and you know, as Uche mentioned, Andrew Santino's awesome. And Bert Kreischer, when he's interviewing a fellow comedian, if you like that kind of talk, I know it can get a bit boring to hear comedians talk about flipping comedy and there's only 1,000 of them around and they're so amazing. I know it can be annoying, but I feel like those guys are really good also. But anyway, moving on. So this is a good little chat they have between Mike Rowe and THEO Vaughn, and it's interesting what THEO says here, because it sounds like to me that THEO is ridiculously over the moon and happy that he's not on King and the Sting anymore. And this clip highlights that maybe one of the reasons why he didn't like King and the Sting was because of the location of the studio. I guess when they moved the studio, they moved it to this swanky building where there's other offices and studios, but I guess it was maybe a bit far out from where he lived, and it was next to really corporate, kind of highfalutin, buttoned up places, and it kind of went against everything he kind of thinks a podcast should be. So it's an interesting clip to highlight. Come on, play.
Congratulations for being in Nashville and for carving out a piece of something real. I mean, this is so, you know, I do a podcast too. It keeps me pretty busy, but I'm on the road all the time, so I'm doing it on like Riverside or Zoom, or, you know, and it's not the same as, you know, sitting in an upholstered chair with the guy in his house with the, you know, it's like cable access meets You know,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like we're this far from Wayne's World.
Yeah, we are.
and people are watching. Like lots of people are watching. So congrats on that.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I think we've been looking for different studios recently, but there's a level of there's a level of rogueness that has to accompany a podcast space.
Yeah.
It's like in LA, because we have a studio in LA and we've been looking there and it's like, man, there's a Chase Bank in the lobby. That's not it.
That ain't it.
We need like a missing person poster within 60 feet. It doesn't need to be on the building, but you know what I'm saying? There needs to, because there's a level still of grunge to it, you know?
Right.
That I think always needs to be there. If I walk into a corporate place, I, in my head, feel more corporate. And so it puts me in a different headspace.
And he's right. He's absolutely right. And maybe that was part of the reason why he didn't want to do King and the Sting anymore. Personally, for me, I don't necessarily think that's true. I think in general, he probably was put in a really awkward position when all that stuff with Brendan and Kalila and Annie went down, because obviously he's really good friends and very close with Bobby Lee, obviously close with Kalila. He didn't know where his allegiances would be and how he kind of would stand on that. And then when the Annie stuff would happen also, I'd imagine he's probably cool with her also. That was probably awkward to deal with. And in general, having listened to Theo a lot on podcasts, and I was a real big fan of his when he used to go on flipping Joey Diaz on the Church What's Happening, when he was kind of freaking out on there, back when he maybe did streams or whatnot, or just in general talking about his past stories and drug stories and stuff. It's always amazing. I got the feeling that he's a very sensitive soul, somebody that clearly doesn't like confrontation or being put in awkward positions. I don't think he just enjoys it overall. And maybe it's because of his upbringing, maybe because of how hard he found it to become successful in entertainment in general. Until he started getting into podcasting, it didn't really work out for him in kind of the conventional entertainment industry. And maybe because of the treatment he went through, he just doesn't want to ever be in a position where he's made to feel awkward or he's put in a corner or has to pick sides. I don't know, whatever. I just get the feeling he just doesn't enjoy that sort of stuff. That kind of like backstabby LA type of comedy type shit. And essentially Brendan put him in a corner, put him in a place where he had to pick a side through no fault of his own, because Brendan wanted to flip and see Kalila's boobies, right? Or wanted to, you know, walk flipping Annie to his trug allegedly. So that made him feel awkward. And then, you know, doing the show also, I think over the time, it just felt like the premise of King of the Sting when it first started was great. I thought so, because as I mentioned in another stream, oddly enough, I think if you remember your lore, King of the Sting started off of the fact that when Theo was introduced to the Fire and the Kid kind of universe, the relationship he had with Brendan was very kind of back and forth, like brother, little brother, big brother sort of thing. They'd kind of rip each other on the podcast, which kind of led to them deciding, let's do a show, right? And then the show premise was like they'd kind of rip each other, like, you know, you look like this, you look like that, you look like this, you look like that. And obviously Theo's really good at it. He's like elite level. And obviously Brendan's obviously not funny, and clearly somebody that's very thin skinned and doesn't really take well to being laughed at. So that whole premise behind that show really run its course quickly, because Brendan just doesn't like to be the butt of the jokes. And then as they tried to live and explore it and do whatever, you know, evolve, it didn't really work out. And then over time, it just kind of ran out of steam. But also, to give Brendan a little bit of to give him a little bit of a favor in this regard, I still kind of blame Theo for it, because I feel like he, being somebody who's a bit of a sensitive soul, doesn't like confrontation. I don't think he was brave enough to tell Brendan, I don't want to do the show anymore, because I think he was tapped out a long time ago. Even probably, I'd maybe even argue he might have been tapped out of doing King of the Sting before the whole thing happened with Kalila and Annie. He probably was over it anyway, but he didn't. But then that maybe stuff set him over the edge. But he wasn't brave enough to say, I don't want to do it. And it had to. And I think all the times that he'd cancel and all that kind of stuff, you think he was hoping and wishing that would be an excuse to leave. But, you know, Brendan didn't want to let him go, because if you go on the if you go on the King and the Sting YouTube account and you scan through the episodes, it's pretty easy to tell who the big draw is. When Chris wasn't cancelled, it was him coming on a guest appearance here and there, or maybe at the start, you'd get a big boost in numbers. But the guaranteed 100,000 plus views, 200,000 plus, 300,000, 400,000 plus views came because of Theo. If Theo was in the thumbnail, if Theo was on the show, his fans would flood it and it'd go crazy. So clearly, because of that, Brendan didn't want to let him go too quickly. But I think he was tapped out in a while. But I still kind of blame Theo for not being honest and just saying, hey, I don't want to do a show anymore, and kind of ending it. But it's interesting that he said what he said, because if you know about that new studio where Thick Boy Productions or whatnot is based, you know it's very swanky. It's the same place they film the Food Truck Diaries, and it's not, you know, it's not your conventional podcast studio, let's say that, right? It's very swanky, it's very sort of upmarket, and you can imagine Theo feeling a little bit awkward being there, and being a proper comic, you're not going to feel the comfortablest being there. You want to be kind of amongst others and amongst the trash, and next to maybe you know, the strip where hookers basically walk up and down. You know what I mean? That's what you want to be. You don't want to be surrounded by literal people that maybe work at Chase Bank or whatnot, you know, or own a startup and whatnot. You want to be around the absolute gutter of the people. But you know, it is what it is. I guess it all kind of worked out for everybody in general. But I do recommend checking it out. Please do watch the show. The episode with Micro, I actually finished it earlier today. It's really, really good. Episode number, what is it? Episode number 146 of this past weekend with Theo Vaughn. Definitely one of my favorites on the comedy podcast circuit, in terms of something that I watch and I know is going to be good regardless of who's on it or who's getting interviewed. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. What people are saying here in the chat. Coiler saying, and he's a drunk things. So I love living life with Brad. Okay, cool. People say he does have that blown up face. He has a big what people are saying here on here. Oh, but people are talking about other stuff. Mike Rowe, next day job should be co-host of Big Boy Studio podcast. Imagine calling your studio Thick Boy Studios podcast, and then you got a fucking, your logo is a donut that looks like a fucking bussy. Honestly, that donut logo, that donut bussy logo is legitimately one of the worst logos in my, and again, this is coming from me, the amateur Photoshop guy, right? My graphics and artwork isn't the greatest, I know. But this Thick Boy logo, let's see, I think it's that bussy one, isn't it? Do you remember that? This bussy logo is legitimately one of the worst things ever. It legitimately looks like a bussy, no? Or is it me? Maybe I'm just going a bit OBT, but look how many logos they got. They've got, I just typed a Thick Boy logo, that logo. They got Thick Boy Bike Club. You don't hear him talk about that anymore. Bikes don't exist anymore, right? Bikes are out. There is no such thing as a bike. And imagine being, only Brendan could brag about riding a bike, but he's riding an e-bike as well. Only him. Crazy. Bike Club. Like, look how many logos he has. That's the one thing he's kind of really struggling on, I think, at Thick Boy, to kind of make it seem legit, because it's meant to be a network, but it's not really. It's just a YouTube channel. But if you want to make it a network and give it that kind of professional feel, he needs to hire a creative director, right, to kind of have some sort of synergy between everything that is hosted under Thick Boy umbrella, maybe in the artwork or something, because at the moment nothing ties it together apart from the studio they film all their shit from. But look at that. Look how many logos they've got of this thing. Is that logo also his face inflamed? Like, yeah, they got that. None of it makes sense, right? Like, imagine walking around the streets with, look at that, a bussy in your back, legitimately calling yourself a Thick Boy, like unironically. Look how many logos are there. Like, even that color scheme is quite cool for the Schaub show. I like that. But none of this is echoed in any other things he does. This orange and green and red, none of it's echoed. It's just all different, completely different. Thick Boy, like, this is just hilarious. It's all different. None of it makes sense. Remember when he was pretending he had a collaboration with flipping Specialized, which was hilarious. When it was just like a bit of custom merch that anyone can put together and do. Look at that. And the other thing I don't understand also, the donut thing. He doesn't eat donuts that much. From what we see on camera, he eats a lot of food truck stuff. He likes eating. He clearly looks like somebody that likes a deep fried wing or two, right? Something covered in sauce. But he doesn't strike me as a donut type of guy, like a muffin type of guy. He doesn't strike me as somebody that will go to like Dunkin' Donuts and buy like a box. That's not his thing. He just likes to eat fried food. So what's with the donuts? It's such a weird thing, right? It's not even a thing that he eats regularly. Maybe he drinks coffee a lot and drinks his whiskey, but when is the last time you seen him eating a donut? Maybe eating a donut on podcast is a bit weird, right? It's like eating a flipping hot dog, right? Having a glizzy in your mouth and having a donut in your mouth probably are the same sort of thing. If you have a donut on a podcast, you might as well stick it around your chong chong, innit? But yeah, imagine Riding an e-bike and thinking you're actually a flipping cyclist is fucking hilarious, man. Going on the trails on an e-bike is just like, I don't know, it's so redacted. It's not even, if you're gonna commute on an e-bike, fair enough, right? No one wants to arrive and trust me, I've done it, because my office is like, where I work is like 5 miles away from where I live, so sometimes I'll cycle to work, especially if I'm going to be into work, 1 day or 2 days a week. I'll cycle there and back just to kind of cheat on the cardio, so I don't have to go out running, because it's flipping horrendous to go out running on the streets nowadays. I used to be able to run like 3 miles a day all the time. Now I struggle to run 5 miles a week, which is crazy, but I can cycle a lot. But cycling 5 miles to work on an actual pedal bike, because I ride fixed gear as well, so I've got a fixie, is horrible. You arrive to the office like drenched in sweat, and I'm already a very sweaty guy, right? Black people in general always sweat a lot. Maybe it's slavery, I think, right? Maybe it's the flipping hardwired, coded flipping fear of being put on a boat again, or when you hear the crack of a whip, right? For a black person, you just shudder, so you're always running. So I just sweat like an absolute pig. It's horrendous. So day-to-day commuting on a bike and sweating every day isn't the smartest thing to do. So jump on an e-bike, I get it. But going on a trail, you should be on a bicycle. Ride a mountain bike, it's fun, man. You ride up it, it's hard. You're going down it with your bike, with your pedals. It makes it fun, man. Like, come on. But what can you do? Yeah, this stuff is interesting. The logo, all of it. Like, imagine wearing that stuff. And you remember when there's a clip actually around. I wish I could get it. There's a clip of Brendan saying Thick Boy merch is better than OVO. Like, it's running, I think his actual line was Thick Boy is running laps around OVO, which was, excuse me? What? Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to go around wearing a flipping Drake merch, right? I'm not wearing an owl or wearing a t-shirt that says The Boy. But to suggest that this stuff is running laps around OVO merch is legitimately crazy, right? Like, didn't OVO have fucking Draco the Ruler do their lookbook once, right? Let's see. OVO, I'm sure it was him. OVO, Draco. Yeah, Draco the Ruler. I'm pretty sure they had, I remember, a lookbook that I really loved. They're flipping Draco the Ruler modeling it. Come on, Draco the Ruler and Chief Keef. Has Brendan got one thing in Thick Boy that's better than that varsity jacket that he's wearing? That dope Draco the Ruler's wearing. R.I.P. Draco the Ruler, we know the truth, right? Look at that. Come on, man. Let's just do OVO lookbook. This guy said flipping Thick Boy merch is better than OVO, Look at this stuff. Look, you got OG John Ross back in the day, Ian Connor modeling it, Playboy Cotton. Who's the most famous musician they've had modeling their stuff? That Mike guy, that white rapper guy, that Chad one, maybe. Who else models it? Look, Mike Ross is wearing it. Ian Connor, John Ross, sorry, Playboy Carti. Look at these people wearing it. I don't know who that is there. It looks somewhat like, look at the clothing. Look how good it looks. You got flipping P. Diddy's son rocking the stuff. Everything looks really good. Heady One was in a couple of bits and bobs here and there. Look at it. This is brilliant. Again, I wouldn't wear none of it, but come on. To say Thick Boy is better than this is flipping beyond delusional. But to be honest, you have to be a redact to walk around with flipping October's very own on your back, to be honest. I love Drake, but I don't love him enough to wear his merch. Not happening in the slightest. But yeah, look, Mike Tyson, for goodness sake. Mike Tyson definitely hates Brendan, but yeah. Hilarious. What's the chat saying here? Stephen, if Thick Boy makes a Huckabee hoodie, I'll buy it. Yeah, exactly. This is what people are saying here. Cool. Let's move on. What's I want to talk about here that I wanted to get into? Mike Rower spoke about already. Oh yeah, let's speak about this. Let's squeak on this. Have you guys seen this stuff? This is something to squeak about. Have you guys seen this? I'm sure some of you have already, but this is a perfect illustration, I feel like, of that meme that exists. You see that meme that everyone's using, that one about fuck around and find out. Fuck around, find out. That meme is amazing, and I think this is a perfect representation of fuck around, find out. NIKITA DRAGUN is arrested by Miami police for battery on police officers after swimming and walking around naked, causing a disturbance to hotel goers. And you can see obviously the story there, right? There's Nikita Dragun, mugshot, looking upset, looking mean, looking whatever. But the funny part of it, funny and also distressing part, is that I guess in Miami, they don't necessarily have, they don't really have modern ways of classifying people when they go into prison. So if you are, somebody that maybe doesn't have a conventional way of presenting yourself in terms of your gender or your sexual orientation or whatever it may be, they're just going to go to the common meme and just put you in a boys group. So if you're trans, you're going to go in the boys prison or girls prison, depending on what sort of bits you're born with. So it's not actually what you're identified with, it's actually what you're biologically born, which obviously throws up loads of different issues and problems. And if you're Nikita Dragun and you're famous also, can you imagine how horrible it must be to be in a Miami prison and be in a men's prison looking the way that Nikita Dragun looks day to day? Must be insanely horrible. So this is a tweet someone put out there that said, just seeing that Nikita Dragun is being kept in a man's prison, this is so fucking inhumane, and the fact that the news isn't covering it is just even worse. I'm not a fan of Nikita Dragun, but this is a violation of human rights and the safety, and they've ever misgendering, and they've even misgendering her in a report. But in my opinion, this is a strange and somewhat weird karmic retribution. Because from what I remember of Nikita, and again, I don't watch much of her content, but the stuff I've seen of her online, she's not a very pleasant individual, right? Very unlikable. And the unlikable nature of Nikita is so avoidable. It's the kind of the unlikable thing I don't get. Like just being mean and being unpleasant for the sake of it. Like you're a millionaire, you've got adoring fans, you get 1 million views on YouTube and stuff, you've got hundreds of millions of subs, whatever it is, you're living life well. Why be a cunt when you could just be nice? Why bother doing that? And the reason why it's really upsetting is because she's so unlikable. When something like this happens, that's very serious, that people should be, protesting about, lobbying for and fighting for, and kind of having her back for, right, in terms of that sort of stuff. People don't really have any patience or really care for her because she's been such an awful person day to day. Do you know what I mean? That's the issue with it. Like, why be unpleasant when you could be nice, especially if you're someone like this and you're somebody that could be maybe, I won't say taken advantage of, but you could be vulnerable in some situations. And this is, I guess, the court appearance where Nikita Dragun learns that there is no moving to a female prison. You have to say the men's prison, which is quite hard to kind of see somebody in this distress, but crazy to see, the nonsense that people get up to, especially some people that have got everything made. Like, why are you in this position in the first place? Really strange. But let's play it. Come on.
Or to pay a bond, use the pre-phone at the jail to call the public defender's office, and they can readdress this with your division judge. All right? And Your Honor, may I ask one question? Do I have to stay here in the men's unit still? Yeah, I don't make the rules up there, but I did offer accommodation for you. You just need a separate area. You can come
Yo, just imagine being Nikita Dragun in a Miami jail. Are you insane? Or prison, whatever it may be. I'm not sure, is it a prison or is it a jail if you get put in an orange jumpsuit? Just imagine how horrible it must be. It must be like Brittany Griner levels, working in a flipping, being in a Russian prison somewhere. It must be at that kind of level, honestly. Just imagine day to day how horrible it must be to be in there. And obviously they booked Nikita Dragun here, date of birth 1996, sex male, weight 120 pounds in a fucking... Honestly, man, but it's hard to have sympathy with her, man, honestly, because she's so awful as a human being. If you don't believe, let's actually watch some YouTube videos to get a reminder of it. Look at these compilations. Look at the compilations. Look at the compilations. Nikita Dragun being actual worst person for 2 minutes straight. Let's watch that first one straight away. Let's see what this is saying. Because it's hard to have sympathy with somebody when they're awful, but let's see what this video is saying.
Nikita Dragun, trans icon.
Actually, let me
The baddest.
let me lower the thing because this is taking ages to load, man, and my internet is not the fastest. Let me put it down to 480. Should be enough in it. Let's put it into 480 so it kind of doesn't buffer too much.
NIKITA Dragon, trans icon.
I love James Harden's voice. NIKITA Dragun, the trans icon.
The baddest, Bretman Rock.
I love Bretman. Bretman's my guy. Bretman will always be my guy. Let's pause it on that a
The
minute.
baddest, Bretman Rock.
Bretman's my guy. The definition of an unproblematic king. Bretman Rocks is an unproblematic king and legitimately one of very few content creators on social media that actually makes me laugh. His skits, some people do those skits on TikTok and they're just cringy and corny. Bretman Rock, if you're not familiar, Google, do your research, follow the guy on flipping Twitter or flipping social, maybe mostly TikTok, see the content on there. Even the workout stuff is super good, super inspiring, super motivating. The guy is hilarious, legitimately hilarious, and the definition of an unproblematic king, in my opinion. Minds his business, lives in an amazing flipping house in Hawaii, eats well, dresses good, probably smells amazing. Looking at him, like, love Bretman, absolutely love Bretman.
Benny, as the winner of today's Compact Challenge, your advantage, you get your first pick of who you want to film with, and then you also...
Nikita with Ashley.
Wait a damn minute.
I've kind of been like, you don't seem vulnerable, like that I don't really show my emotions.
Yeah.
Like, my followers beg me for a teen mom.
I don't know what's happening with this video. It's not the best.
Child.
To be fair, this is a bit misleading. This video isn't that bad. I don't think she comes across bad in it.
Are you dumb?
Great time to say that I uploaded the last time 3 months ago.
With their wakeboards.
Yeah.
First question is...
Wait, okay. Oh, the time is up. The time is up. Come on, the time is up.
Okay.
Hold on, let me watch the other one because this one isn't good. This basically is a bit of a troll. Let's see this one. This is the what? NIKITA Dragun's avoiding her scandals for 4 minutes straight. Avoiding. Let's see a good compilation of it. Yeah, let's watch this one. Maybe this is good.
Sorry, I just looked at James' butt and I was like, ugh, girl, I don't know what I'm about to do with all that.
Cheaters.
That's not cheating. The last thing that was cheating for you was your last man.
Oof.
We don't own this chin, girl.
What about it?
I'm just saying Crimson Chin is shut.
Nikita.
So do people ever make fun of your ears?
No, not really.
Oh, let me read that loud for the people that can't. That are not. NIKITA Dragun has been involved in a certain amount of drama. Her most recent scandal involves Bretman Rock's sister, Princess May. Basically, she was being super disrespectful to her. We've all seen it by now.
Give us $20 and we'll be happy.
That's enough for Princess to go buy her Plan B.
So annoying. After the comments were flooded by people calling out Nikita, Bretman and Princess decided to post on Instagram.
Drama kind of thing. I just don't want to. I don't want to do it. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. Yes. Good point. And yeah, I also wanted to apologize to you guys because to be fucking honest and to be fair with you guys, I do genuinely think that I should have defended my sister.
See, that's why Bretman is always a legend. Look at him owning up to his mistakes, owning up to the fact that maybe he should have stood up for Princess, you know, during that whole escapade more in public, and maybe he didn't back her up enough and wasn't maybe calling out Nikita for her behavior. That's a king. That's an unproblematic king there.
But honestly, at the time, I have no excuse, but I was just caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
Be that as it may, I would like to apologize also because I do know that a lot of you guys come to my channel because it is a drama-free channel. We've never had drama unless it's within ourselves.
Yeah.
And I apologize that
So basically, they apologize for Nikita. Exactly. Amazing. Meanwhile, on Nikita's Insta, No apology. That's a I remember about her, like being the queen of not apologizing and just kind of doubling down on the hate. It's pretty interesting. Look who went silent on Instagram. Let's not forget where you came from, baby girl. Humble yourself. Say sorry first. Low-key kind of getting tired of Nikita. No apology.
When a conflict arises, our
Oh yeah, and also for the fellas in the chat, be honest. If no one could find out, would you? Be honest. Do not lie. Because you're on social media, there's no need to lie. No one knows who you are anyway. But if no one knew, would you? Be honest. If no one knew, would you? Be honest. Never again, someone says. Fuck no, says Marty Moose. I couldn't live with it, says Marty Moose. Yo, exactly, Uche. Yo, let's be honest. People are being insulting and stuff in the chat, but let's be real. If you're out in a club somewhere and, you know, something happens, I think a lot of you are lying. There's a lot of big cap going on in the chat right now.
last contestant is nowhere to be found.
People have realized that this is a recurring thing with Nikita. Last year during the Laura scandal.
Racism. Correct.
Coiler being real. I've done worse. That's why Coiler's a king. To be fair, she actually seemed to work. People slowly forgot about the mess. And she didn't end up embarrassing herself with an apology video, which is true. There have been other examples. Okay. Oh, was it? Why does it feel like this is not going to be a fail? Like, really, are you trying to feel like a saint or something, or a charity worker? Nikita says, how are you going to get mad over a free meet and greet with full security, event staff, and proper location? Would you rather I charge 500 per ticket? This is for my friend, BB. You're just a follower. Oof. Fucking hell. Bitchy, cunty. Jacqueline Hill, I didn't even recognize you without the face tune. Jacqueline, girl, go sell some Morphe brushes or something. This is good clapback. I'm not gonna lie. After the fans wouldn't stop calling out Nikita on the Princess May drama, she finally uploaded this. Okay, let's see. What did she finally say after all that stuff? What did she finally say?
Hi everyone, so I just wanted to address something. I know the ongoing joke.
Look at her. She's not sorry. This girl's not sorry. Let's see what she said.
Is that Nikita never apologizes, I never take blame for anything, or I never own up to anything, and that couldn't be further from the truth. When I am going through something with somebody, or when I owe them an apology, I feel like I owe them that face to face, like as a woman, and not just to like save face or whatever. So I have apologized.
As a woman is like worthless, isn't it? Those kind of things. It's like when people say as a black man, right? As a woman. What does that even mean, as a woman? Just apologize. It's like saying to somebody, if you were offended, right? Starting your apology with, if you were offended. Sorry if I hurt your feelings.
Apologize to Princess and actually to Bretman as well, because I feel like if that's the banter, you know, these shitty comments or whatever, just to make jokes and stuff, is like what I have with other people. It doesn't make it right for everybody, and like there's a place and time, and obviously people have their boundaries and you have to be completely respectful of it. And for me, I just like take things way too far.
Where's the apology in this, by the way? Have you heard an apology so far?
All the time, and I had to apologize for it because I just feel like some jokes are warranted, and maybe that's okay with some friends, but like sometimes it's not. And we have all moved past it. We've apologized, and actually, like, I feel like now we have become way closer because we understand each other's boundaries and what to be respectful of and everything.
So this was her first apology, where she explains as to why she doesn't apologize publicly. What do you guys think? Oh mate, honestly, Nikita, man, bang your doors. Hopefully you get free soon. I don't like seeing anybody in jail, in prison, let alone a flipping jail or prison in fucking Miami. I can't imagine how horrible that must be right now. So bang your doors. Hopefully you get released very, very soon, and you learn your lesson. You don't go back in there again, because, you know, jail is no place for someone like Nikita Dragun. Jail is no place for anybody, but especially not for someone like that. You know what I mean? They're not equipped to be in jail, not in the slightest. So, what are people saying in the chat? Oh, my ears are burning actually. Oh, actually, I need to continue and find out, kind of talk about the other stuff. Actually, I'm wasting a lot of time, so please bear with me. What are people saying here in the chat? Koila, just need some friction and a place to aim. I don't know what you're talking about, but hopefully it's a good one. Man like Casino, yes, big up Kieran. Big up my guy Kieran. Big up, big up, big up. But yeah, big up the chat, big up everyone is in here that's hanging out. I do appreciate and exalt every single one of you without a flipping fail. Oh, let's go into this one. So let's talk about this. I need to blow my nose a minute. Hold on. Oh, anyway, let's talk about this. Have you guys seen this? Have you guys seen Akaash Singh, Mr. Flipping leg tapper, embarrassing himself in the worst way possible by trying to embarrass, I guess, a British person for not laughing. Legitimately one of the worst videos I've seen in my entire life, but I thought this is hilarious, and if anything, this is a clear indication of how detached from reality most stand-up comedians are. Like, they just exist in their own little bubble where they legitimately think that they walk on water, or legitimately think everything uttered out of their mouths is flipping, you know, grounds to be like laughing and having your side split, when some of them are just, you know, passable in terms of entertainers. But this is Akaash doing a, for some reason he promoted this on his flipping Instagram as well, on his socials, as some sort of way to promote his comedy, which is weird because it doesn't make him look the greatest. But this is Akaash versus a British heckler. Let's watch and hear.
Suck for all of you. You're first, you're second. Did he suck for you?
Yeah, he didn't even look at me. Yeah, that's true. I came here when I was 10, but I've been meeting all kinds of people in America, right?
We sucked for you because you said something.
I said...
You look like you read a lot of books.
Yeah, I wish I was reading one by now.
I don't know what I did to...
That's a better joke than most comedians I've heard this year, mate, honestly.
This hostility, but just trying to have a good time here. Just a comedy show, you know what I mean? Dude, I asked him a question and he rolled his eyes. I was like, what are you, fuck my wife? Fuck you, dude.
Why?
I have to put up with this from you.
Why are you asking people questions for? I know it's part of crowd work, but just because you ask somebody a question doesn't mean they owe you a flipping response. And especially if they don't want to give you a response to aid your show. Like, I've mentioned it before. I've mentioned it before, and yeah, I think I have. You know, one thing I hate the most? One of the things that really grinds my gears, people who try to rope you into their fun. You know, when you're out in a bar somewhere and somebody's had too much to drink or too much yak up their nose, and they try to like get you involved in their group of people, in their group of friends. Oh, this guy's cool, come over here. And they try and become like the flipping party coordinator and try and force you to have fun with them. Go and dance on my middle finger. Leave me alone. There's nothing worse than that. I'm already high as a kite off my own stuff. Let me get zooted on my own thing. I don't need to be jumping in with you. So I can't imagine being in a comedy show and having a comedian trying, so where are you from? And all that kind of stuff to get me involved and get me a part of the joke. Use me as a prop. Do your joke, do your routine, and let me go home. Let me dunk my chicken fingers into this dip of flipping mayo and do my thing. You know what I mean, like, don't involve me in your flipping dumb comedy routine.
You fuck. How do you guys know each other? Can I ask? Are you comfortable talking about it? If not, it's all good. We can move on.
We met on Hinge.
You met on Hinge. Yeah, dude, the South is more open-minded than you think. Don't be so nervous, you know what I mean? There's some fucking... You're not nervous? What are you?
This guy's a fucking cunt.
Tell me what emotion you're feeling.
He's British, he's really confused.
He's confused by Indians as a Brit? I don't think he is, to be honest with you.
Oh my God, mate. If my eyes could roll further back into my head, I'd be flipping having an orgasm.
I think he's looking at me like, why does this guy have freedom? And I'm trying to power through the set. But when I'm done with my set and I see him doing this, that shit, there is no way your fucking left hand is more interesting than what we're doing up here.
Maybe it is. Maybe you're not that funny. And, you know, let's be honest. I like Akaash as like a human, like, but God almighty, man, the mannerisms and the similarities between him and flipping Andrew Schulz is a little bit cringy. Like, be your own man, brother. Like, honestly. Allow this whole stuff. You're not, that is not you. You seem like a nice, Indian boy. Like, just be that person. Why is he trying to be combative? Because if this guy decided to turn up and they wanted to throw hands, Akaash is like, what, 70 pounds or something, right? 5'1", he'd get smoked, right? This guy will fucking, you know, start voguing and do that little drop down thing and on his head or something. It's a wrap. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
Here for an hour. You clearly want to go home. I don't know why the fuck you didn't leave already. This guy's sitting here picking his fucking calluses on his hand for 10 minutes. Just go. Who gives a fuck?
Oh yeah, by the way, Dark Web Jason made a good point. Crowd work is so forced. You know why crowd work is forced, by the way? It might be Andrew Schultz's fault. Andrew Schultz kind of got really popular off the back of crowd work, right? He does it masterfully. And the way they produce the videos and they edit them is really great. But he turned crowd work into content pieces, because before, most content that comedians were putting out online was them in front of a flipping fake brick wall doing their comedy routine, right? Making jokes. But when you involve crowd into the crowd work into your, when you instead record the crowd work segment of your stand-up, especially if you don't do the whole thing and just record maybe a bit of it, and you show the people's reactions and stuff, it basically is a way for them to get famous, right? They can see themselves on social media. They get the flipping likes as well. They're on camera, all that sort of stuff around it. It becomes a piece to kind of promote your thing, whatever it may be. It kind of hits that kind of dopamine levels also. That's probably the reason why crowd work is so cringe now, because it's forced. Like you said, everybody knows it's a thing. And you're kind of going to the show hoping you might be on camera. It's like the people that stand behind the DJs at Boiler Room. That's why Boiler Room is terrible now, because people know hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions, are going to watch this DJ perform. So I'm going to stand behind the guy, behind the DJ, and do some quirky thing, play with my nipples, figure with my glasses, smoke a cigarette. I don't know, whatever nonsense people do. So this is the same sort of equivalent of it. It's just lame.
And then I just fucking lost it. I was like, with all my jokes, fuck this guy. He deserved it. I don't know if we put this out because it's so mean, but he fucking deserved it. It was fun, to be honest with you.
It's not mean.
I had a good time.
It's not mean, it's cringe. It's fucking cringe.
How is this more polite than just getting up and walking out? The guy thinks he's funnier than me.
Probably
fucking
is.
Brits, dude. I'm so glad that bitch died. So glad that bitch died. Never been more glad a bitch died in my life.
You know what also he's trying to have? I think this is forced, because he's trying to have a Bill Burr moment. Was it Bill Burr in Philly, right? Where he kind of comes out and destroys a crowd that's been very combative, or maybe not being the most welcoming or warmest of the comedians that came prior to him, and he has this flipping legendary set that went viral. But think about it, if I'm not mistaken, that Philly set that Bill Burr did that went viral, there was no video of it. It was just an audio recording. That's all you hear, and it went viral and got him, you know, made him flipping way more famous, and remind people how flipping amazing and funny Bill Burr is. One of my favorite stand-up comedians. But maybe this has got a little bit of a tinge in it. These guys are trying to recreate that Bill Burr Philly magic. Maybe.
This whole time I didn't care. I was like, whatever, 92-year-old bitch died. Who cares what she did to India? I'm over it. I'm not over it anymore. Fuck that bitch. Ha! You get those jokes, don't.
Exactly. How's that funny? That's like saying somebody, like, you eat tea and crumpets at your house or something, or do you know where the Queen lives, or have you seen that? It's just such a lame base level joke. Like, really? It's like the equivalent of Nicki Minaj doing her British accent and thinking everyone speaks like that. Like, come on.
Don't you? You don't have a hard time understanding that? Fucking stupid inbred bitch. Fuck you. I hate this bitch now, and it's your fault.
Inbreeding. It's hard to joke about inbreeding when you're Indian, to be fair. Come on, let's be real. Especially in London, especially in the UK, right? Like, let's not do our Googles about the Indian community and maybe some of your Pakistani brothers and sisters when it comes to inbreeding. I'm not going to say too much about it. You know the vibes.
I wish we could dump more tea in a fucking hurricane right now. Tea Party Part 2. In a much less significant state. Son, I swear to God, dude. I swear to God, if I had a fucking glove, I'd slap you like that with that shit. Challenge you to a duel.
What if he wins, though? What if you lose to the British dude whose sexuality may be fluid? What if you lose to him? What if the British dude whose sexuality may be fluid, who's picking his flipping calluses on his hands, what if he absolutely smokes you? Then what? Will you record that and put that out there? Random black guy laughing at my jokes. Let's put that in the video also. Cringe, man. These guys are so lame.
Fucking Hamilton out here. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. I blacked out for a second, to be honest with you. I feel so good, though. I feel so much better about everything. Fuck the queen. You goofy inbred bitch that killed Diana. Fuck you. Oh, do you feel bad for this Diana killing ass bitch, really? Miss, you seem very sweet. I don't want you to feel bad about yourself, but do you really feel bad about this Diana killing ass bitch? Can you do me a favor? Can you just come sit here for 5 minutes? Just look at this guy. Can you see him from here? You only see this part of his face. You don't see the shitty part is right here. You pay.
This is dead. Well, Marty Moose says, have you seen the Killer and Peel video clip of the guy that shakes when instead of laughing? This Indian dude fake laugh so hard that shows jokes the same. No, I've not seen that. That's hilarious. You know what? I don't think, this is a thing I'm going to say controversial. I don't think Akaash is fake laughing at what Schultz says. I legitimately think he thinks Schultz is basically Eddie Murphy reincarnated. To him, Schultz is the funniest person he knows. And also, let's be fair, Schultz essentially gave this guy a career, right? Basically, you know, Schultz is, let's be fair too. You don't might not like the guy, but he's a great friend. He's brought his entire friendship group with him along the way, right? From his producers to his openers to people that helped do the show, even the show itself. He has everybody sitting on that flipping sofa. Now it's different sofas, but everybody's on camera. Everybody gets airtime. He obviously has that monologue thing that he does. Maybe he's kind of the quote unquote star, but he brings everybody forward. He kind of uses his platform to promote and lift up his friends. And obviously in the process of him getting bigger, it's allowed Akaash to become his own person now. He's touring and doing his own show. So clearly, I understand why you would laugh a bit extra hard when this guy's paying for your wedding, essentially. Right? It makes complete sense, giving you a salary and letting you look after your family and whatnot, right? I get it. Especially coming from a traditional Indian family, they want you to be a doctor and whatnot, and then, you know, you're not being successful in comedy, and then Schultz gives you that flipping success. You can kind of finally go to your parents and say, haha, I proved you wrong. I get it, but he has to relax. Like, Schultz is funny, but he's not as funny as he makes it out to be.
For this shit, I bet. He wouldn't do this if he paid. Remember what I said about being disrespectful? Fuck all of it. Out the window. Respect is given when respect is taken, or whatever the fuck.
Exactly, Uche. Schultz is the meal ticket and he acts accordingly. Exactly. You have to know honestly, that's one of the things I've learned when I've got older. Before I was very, I had a very sort of, anarchist maybe way of looking at things. Never pay dues, fuck the OGs, all this kind of weird fuck the establishment, burn everything down, right? The classic kind of golf wang stuff, right? Kill people, fuck school. That's what what's that thing they say? Kill people, fuck something. It was that thing they always used to chant at golf wang shows, right? On future stuff. I used to be that person, but the older you get, the sooner you realize that you have to know where your bread is buttered at all times. You have to know where your bread is buttered at all times. Doesn't mean you suck up to anybody. Doesn't mean you lose your dignity or you kind of give somebody your pussy for free. You have to know where your bread is buttered.
It's a reciprocity is the word I'm goddamn looking for. I'm out here sounding like motherfucking suffering succotash out here. I'm out here talking like Daffy Duck. I'm so upset at this fucking guy. I just don't get it. Sorry, it's not some fucking dry-ass BBC sitcom. You couldn't have stayed home and watched Mr. Bean on PBS on Saturday night, motherfucker?
Honestly, I know it's not a bit because he looks angry and he's red. Can you imagine being this upset because somebody doesn't want to flipping laugh at your jokes? When you've got all these people laughing. Look at this woman. She's legitimately having the time of her life. Got a couple mimosas in her. Maybe there's a flipping double chicken burger coming down the aisle. Maybe there's some flipping macaroni and cheese coming down the aisle. She's having a great time. Focus on her. Why are you bothered that this one guy doesn't want to laugh at your fucking jokes? Why is it a necessity that everyone has to be creasing over, fainting, and being taken away in a stretcher, Michael Jackson style, for you to have a good show? Like, the ego and the hubris on his people is ridiculous.
Goddamn, dude. You know, I swear to God, I used to tell people I want to move to London. I changed my mind just now. I love London. You can't be from London. You're too... Where are you from? And I don't give a fuck, dude. Who cares? I'm asking.
That's funny. That's funny.
Me. I'm sorry I ruined your night, truly. I'll never feel bad for you in my life. That was the worst thing I said? I feel like I did okay then. How about this? I wish the queen was Hindu so I could watch that bitch burn to death. How about that? Take that dead body and light it on fire like a fucking... I hope in her next life she comes back as a minority. Fucking make her miserable. Fucking frigid bitch, get out of here. Nobody give a fuck.
Does he not know that most people don't care about the royal family in the UK? I don't know why he thinks that we're all flipping royal apologists or something. Like, does he think we all have flipping portraits of the Queen in our house? I don't want to turn around my flipping camera, but there is no one portrait of flipping Queen Lizzie here. Most people in my friendship group didn't give a fuck about her when she was alive or when she was dead. These jokes don't land. This is like, he thinks this is the equivalent of like saying you wish death upon Oprah Winfrey or something. It's not the same thing. No one has any love for the Queen. We all know the horrors of the flipping monarchy and the royal family. We're all very, very aware of it. We don't need some Indian guy from America to tell us why the Queen is bad. Like, none of us like her. Who is he talking to, really? This is like, I don't know. This is strange. This is very, very strange who he's trying to insult here. We don't care. Like,
I'm looking for my 7-foot camera guy around the corner, like just in case this guy charges the stage. You know?
Oh, you see? After all of that insulting of the guy, he's now putting it out there subtly that he's got protection around the corner. Nah, if you're gonna talk that hot shit, let the sexually fluid British guy get a look at you around the corner, innit? Come on.
Hey, thank you, bro. He's not even scared of your size. He's just not used to black people.
There's no black people outside of America. Man, fuck him. Fucking dead shit. One thing that's gonna guarantee, I'm never watching his stand-up. If that's what he does, what is it gonna be? Indian jokes, right? Indian people be like, American people be like, and then this type of fucking humor, you can fuck off if you think I'm watching that ever in my free time. Fuck right off. Absolute donkey crap, man. So big up that British guy for not laughing. If it's not funny, don't laugh. Fuck them. It is what it is, isn't it? Jesus Christ, man. Anyway, let's move on to the pièce de résistance. The absolutely funny part of this show and the reason why you're all here. The reason why you're all here. The reason why you're all here. The most important part of this show. The pièce de résistance. The highlight. My guy, Ariel Helwani. My driller, right? Ariel flipping Helwani. He's got an interesting role to play in the flipping PF Chang's Firing the Kid universe, right? Because he essentially was never involved, from what I remember, right? He had no involvement at all until Brenda decided to get him involved by mentioning his name, disparaging him, trying to ruin his reputation, and call him out in some weird, perverse way that didn't necessarily work. And come to think of it, right? I'm not coming, but I'm coming to think of it. Something that makes me laugh for no reason. Not funny in the fucking Akaash anyway. Come to think of it, right? I think part of the reason why he tried to get at Ariel, well, part of the reason why Brendan tried to get at Ariel, I feel like, was, you remember there was that period in time where Brendan was trying to retcon and memory hole all the insults and all the friction he had with Dana White. Do you remember when he tried to make it seem like they were cool, tried to pretend like they were friends, basically was licking his ass in public, and anytime a topic surrounding Dana White came up that was controversial or divided opinion, he'd always side with Dana. He'd maybe walk back some of his earlier comments about fighter pay, that he was, you know, influential and maybe played a big role in kind of starting that debate, because obviously he retired off the back of that sort of stuff. He was basically trying to get back into Dana White's good graces. But even myself, being a very much a fair weather, casual MMA UFC fan, one thing I know about Dana White is that when he has a grudge and when he decides he hates you for life. So I never really understood why Brendan was trying to become his friend again, because if he doesn't like you anymore, that's it, you're done for. So I never understood why he was trying to do that, but it makes sense, innit? Dana White's rich as fuck. He's, you know, the UFC guy, even though Brendan's doing pretty well in terms of getting high level people to come on his show. It would still be nice if he had the ability to go to, you know, flipping UFC events and get a press pass and have even more access to stuff. Like, who wouldn't want that? So I understand why he did it, but it was really gross how he did it, because he tried to dunk on Ariel in order to win Dana's grace or Dana's favor. Didn't work, and he ended up getting torched. He ended up getting absolutely smashed to pieces. Drone strikes ahoy. 10-7, 10-7 all over the shop by Ariel, dunking on him. And the reason why I think it was really good too was, as Ariel says, deep down Brendan looks down on people like Ariel, or people like us, people that have anything bad to say about him. He looks down upon you, especially if he thinks he's bigger than you, stronger than you, richer than you, more handsome, whatever this nonsense things he thinks. So it must have hurt his pride and ego so much that somebody that looks like Ariel, somebody who he maybe thinks conventionally he could bully and silence, right? It must hurt him so much that this guy was able to dunk on him and embarrass him so easily, with such ease. And he's not even a flipping comedian. He's a journalist, a proper journalist, right? He would probably agree that he was probably the quintessential dork, right? A passionate guy about UFC, but he's not somebody that's ever going to be confrontational, be aggressive, want to fight. He's just someone who wants to have a good time and laugh and chill. So the fact that someone like him was able to destroy him so meticulously must be so brutal to take. Honestly, I loved it, because again, he brought it upon himself. He didn't need to get Ariel involved. He tried to win Dana's graces that way, and it obviously didn't work. So Ariel was on Flagrant 2, and they did the Flagrant, podcast is now called Flagrant, not Flagrant 2 anymore, talking about the UFC. You're going to talk about it in a minute. Let me get a tissue and blow my nose, because my nose is flipping leaking. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's get back to this. So, yeah, Ariel was on the show, Flagrant, the UFC stream, which featured Kamaru Usman, Alex Volkanovski, Leon Edwards, and Aljamain Sterling. Pretty good show. Really recommend you check it out. The live stream is awesome. It's over 4 hours long, flipping banging. But Ariel came in with some absolute bombs. I've got the clips all timestamped here that I'm going to check out. So the first one is Ariel being funnier than most professional stand-up comedians. So when I say most, I mean generally Brendan Schaub. He's 100% funnier than Brendan. I don't care what anyone says. So this is Ariel doing his first real good impression of a stand-up comedian and sounding legitimately funny, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but let's cue up the clip here. 59:38 of Ariel being absolutely hilarious, and I want to hear and see what you guys think. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get up on the screen.
Suck in, bro.
So did we know that he was coming on the show? And
No, I was watching the shitty stream. They had 2 people watching. I'm like, how do we fucking help these guys out? The king of MMA media, help you out. It was embarrassing. I was like, I can't believe Vogue wasted his day to come over here. There's literally 5 people watching. It was crazy.
Chat, are you going to take this slander from the second greatest MMA journalist of all time?
Look at all the love I'm getting. Look at all the
number 2 man.
Helwani is here. I don't see my name anywhere. I'm going to pretend like I do. No. Why is Ariel there? All right, fine.
You see that? Genuine, absolute, unrequited laughs. He's getting legit laughs from a professional stand-up next to him, from a room full of strangers. They're laughing and they're cackling at this MMA journalist, cracking up, coming in with the fire, making it a good time, making the stream entertaining, adding to the vibes, and just having a good old time. That's what you want to see, right? That's what you bloody want to see. Not these flipping, politic talks and culture talks and all this sort of nonsense these guys do, where they try and talk down to you, try and educate you on life matters and whatnot, and these guys just tell dick jokes on stage and stuff. Like, relax. Wind your bloody necks in, as we say here in the UK. Wind your neck in. You're just a flipping comedian. It's not that serious, and no one absolutely cares. If I don't think I take myself too seriously, why are these guys taking themselves too seriously? I don't get it. But anyway, another bit here I want to queue up here, which is around 1 minute 50-ish, is Ariel Helwani asking Alex Volkanovski about PF Chang's in the most subtle way ever. It was fucking brilliant, because this is awesome, because he's asking him about PF Chang's, obviously dunking on Brendan and firing the kid, and in the process making Andrew Schulz incredibly uncomfortable, because he's one of those guys in that community of people who clearly is very close to Rogan, and he knows where his bread is buttered, right? Rogan, that appearance, let's just call a spade a spade. I know some of you guys don't like Schultz, but I find him funny and I like his podcast. I'm not going to lie, I take him in small doses, but he killed his first appearance on Rogan. Schultz on Rogan, that first appearance was supreme. Like he basically had he placed the bar where it needed to be, in terms of, if you're a first time comic on Rogan and you don't really know him too well and you want to promote yourself, instead of going on there and promoting your special, absolutely put your personality and your humor on display front and center. And he did it, man. He came through with the absolute fire. What do you call it? Whatever that fire thing is that you put in your hand, right? He did that and he smashed it. And to this day, him and Rogan are still good friends, probably even closer than than Brendan is with flipping Rogan. But he also knows that Rogan has a special place in his heart for Brendan, so he doesn't get involved in the whole homeless cats thing. He doesn't try and dunk on Brendan in the slightest. He knows what his bread is buttered and tries to keep all that stuff to one side, even though he knows about some of the memes and whatnot. So I thought this was incredible, because not only did flipping Ariel, you know, essentially make in what's his name, not only did he make Schultz uncomfortable, he also dunked in Brendan in a really subtle way, which I really enjoyed. So let's play it here and then we can continue.
Like, we'll help post things if I have to do it here and there, but I try and get back to people. I try,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. How do you feel about PF Chang's? Are you a fan or not?
This guy is.
PF Chang's?
This guy.
What?
This
What?
guy.
No, what?
You know what that is? No problem, bro.
I'm not sure who the guy is next to Volk. I'm assuming that's somebody involved in MMA or UFC or his camp. Maybe it's a trainer. Maybe it's whoever you are. Shout out to you, because as soon as he heard PF Chang's, look at the smile on that man's face. That man is definitely perused the flipping subreddit. He knows what that PF Chang's means. So whoever this guy is, big up to you. You knew, you know. We know, you know. Volk shouldn't know, because he should be training, right? He should be trying to, you know, train and become pound for pound, you know, GOAT and whatnot, and knocking people out in the octagon. But you should know, and I'm glad you do know. I'm glad you know.
Chang?
This guy.
What?
This
What?
guy.
No,
You
what?
know what that is?
Ain't
No
problem, bro.
This guy
Homeless cats.
is-
Orange.
Homeless cats. He said homeless cats. He said, Brendan, we love you, Brendan. We love you, Brendan.
Oh, that's cringe. Just allows him to joke and hang around. You don't really love him if you're laughing and giggling at the joke also and smashing the flipping pillow cushion. Relax.
You ever done Truck Stop Diaries? What is it? Food Truck Diaries? Truck Stop?
Truck Stop. Truck Stop.
Truck stop diaries. It basically is a truck stop, right, where they stop at. Honestly, that show could be so much improved if they just do a slight change with Food Truck Diaries. Why not go to a food truck park? You know, in LA they have those places. I'm not sure what street it is, but I remember seeing it on some YouTube video. There's a certain area in LA somewhere where all these food trucks park up and they basically display their wares, right? Different food from different flipping parts of the world, whatever it may be, different cuisines, and they park them in either a parking lot or on the street. And that's where you go to eat your food truck stuff. Someone playing music, maybe somebody's selling flipping, you know, balloons, whatever it may be. Why not do it there? Around people. People might be, oh my god, that's Tick, that's Volk, that's Ojo. You get a little crowd around you and you basically make them part of the show, and you can edit it in a way to make it look, I don't know, just do something in situ and then have them eat maybe next to the food truck on the little plastic chairs, like, you know how the old Anthony Bourdain no reservation things was, right, where he would always want to eat the food in this locality, right? He'd go to the flipping shanty little hut thing, he'd go to the market and he'd sit there in the plastic chairs, this multi-millionaire famous dude, world traveler, RIP Anthony Bourdain, the flipping GOAT, and he'd do it there and he'd kind of add a level of authenticity and realness to the whole experience. Why not do that? Instead of going to a food truck, having it park outside a very desolate, macabre, sterile you know, office block somewhere in a car park next to flipping passing traffic, and then take the food into a studio. Makes no sense. It kind of devoids the whole point of food truck. Why not just have someone Uber it into your flipping studio? What's the point of ordering a food truck if you're just gonna go eat it in the flipping studio in the first place?
Absolute animal. Hey, just hating on every other podcast. Fucking animal.
Don't do it. You'll have the runs. They'll give you some shitty like orange chicken.
I have done it.
You have?
I've done it, yeah. And you had a good time.
No wonder they're trying to screw you.
I did it when I did you as well. Wait a minute, hold on. Why are you saying they're trying to screw him? No, I did it. You think this is real?
I think they're trying to put the screws. You remember 25 years ago, Montreal Screwjob, Bret Hart?
No.
You're not a wrestling fan? Someone has to be a wrestling fan here, no?
No, because we got pussy in high school.
That's good.
It was a little different. Like, we were fucking girls.
Montreal.
Not looking at Bret the Hitman Hart.
They're trying to put the screws on this man.
Okay,
I'm not going to stand for it, Volk. I'll tell you
I'm
what.
praising you.
Right, that was actually brilliant. Asking Volk about P.F. Chang's, and the guy next to the trainer, I think maybe, or the friend, just absolutely beaming from ear to ear, was legitimately something that gave me all the life I needed in the world. I swear to God, that gave me all the life I needed. The next clip here I want to play is which one is this one? This is gonna be, oh yeah, Ariel getting at Brendan again. This is another dunk, right? He was on fire this whole entire stream. Watch the whole entire segment if you need to actually, or watch the whole entire show. It's flipping brilliant. Big up, you know, Schultz for putting this together, especially at the head of the UFC 281. Definitely got me pumped for the fight card, if anything. But definitely, let me just put this one. This is another one where he kind of gets at Brendan again. I think this is flipping brilliant. And you know what's really good about this, right? It's a setup. Think of any joke you've heard Brendan Schaub do in a stand-up special, or any joke he's done for his content. And is there any joke Brendan's ever done that's funnier than this? Even the setup is really good, right? For someone that's not a comedian, even the setup is really good. The misdirection is brilliant. Listen to Ariel Helwani here.
Why did you vote for Kanye?
Well, I felt as though his views were very sort of inclusive.
Bro, you can storm the Capitol now. This is awesome.
Yes, you're locked, dude.
But what I wanted to say was, when you do the test, the citizenship test, they ask you questions.
What do they ask you?
So there's 100 questions to choose from. You only have to get 6 out of 10 right. But then you have to write a sentence, and then you have to answer sort of English-speaking questions. So what they do is they play a movie for you, and then you have to recite some of the lines.
From the movie?
Yeah, you know what movie I got?
What?
It was fucking tough because I couldn't understand a word that they were saying.
Django Unchained.
No.
Imagine having to recite some of those.
The movie.
I'd rather stay in Canada.
It was a great movie, but the dialogue was very complex. It was hard to... what's that one with the guy, the big guy?
He's never seen a movie.
I've never seen a movie. Green Mile.
Oh, Gringo Poppy. Gringo fucking Poppy. It was hard.
Brendan's my guy. Brendan's my friend, bro. Why are you laughing from ear to ear about that joke then? If he's your friend, he's your guy. Why are you letting this guy dunk on him like this harshly and this brutally on this show? Honestly, he's so good. Honestly, Ariel Helwani is legitimately co-CEO of PF Chang's. I know I put the poll in the chat, but he is co-CEO of PF Chang's. Honestly, absolutely incredible performance from him. Absolutely incredible.
So hard to understand.
Ariel, why do you do? Why do you cause division?
It was hard to understand.
Cause division.
No, because it was hard to understand what
He's
they were
a menace.
talking
He
about.
cannot be held down. And he's like,
Poppy.
why doesn't the UFC like me? We get it. We understand right now. Why?
It's in English.
Just
it's not English.
A bowling ball.
What am I supposed to say? It's not English. Is this? What is this? Is it a different kind of language? It's like.
But I heard you have a special coming out.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Ariel Helwani, absolute masterful performance, man. I legitimately don't think I've heard a single joke from Brendan that's as good as that flipping, setup that he kind of did in misdirection. Maybe the best one he's got legitimately and without irony might be that salsa chip cookie, that Mexican cookie shit joke he's got. I know it's really dumb and doesn't make any sense, but that legitimately made me laugh when he said like, what's a cookie? What's a Mexican cookie? What is it? Like you dip it in salsa or something? I don't know, something along that lines, right? I thought that, or put it cilantro in it, whatever it may be. That was legitimately funny. I don't know why that made me laugh. Maybe because it's so dumb, it made me laugh. But that was one of the best ones I heard on Gringo Pappy. But this it's not as funny as that. That was legitimately hilarious. Big up Ariel Helwani, man. Absolute GOAT. I don't care what anyone says. And then another one we got to play here is a clip that features what's his name? Schulz telling Ariel that he should have a roast battle with flipping Brendan, which I think would be incredible. I think Ariel suggests they should do a stand-up special, which would be dumb and hard to do because I don't think he'd agree to it anyway. Either one, he wouldn't agree to it. But I love the fact that Ariel tried to defend him by saying they should do a roast battle, knowing full well that Brendan's the most thin-skinned person in content creation, right? He's in comedy, maybe hands down, he might be the most thin-skinned. So it's never going to happen. Any kind of roast battle in the first place anyway, but you know, credit for him for trying to try. But let's play the clip now and then you can hear them say what they're gonna say.
Gonna do with it.
So you didn't try?
No.
I'm a little disappointed.
Well, no, I tried to go through the UFC, and then I was gonna go through that woman, and then I don't know. We had a lot of great guys, but I love DC, and I think you guys have unbelievable chemistry, and yeah, you guys, yeah, I told you this, and I'll say it again. It's the only thing on Zoom regularly that I would watch and feel like you guys were in the room together.
That's very nice of you.
And it was.
We go
great.
together like a plate of brown rice and orange chicken. This guy liked it. He liked it.
I mean,
he liked it.
You and Brendan just got to fight, yo. You and Brendan just got to fight.
That'd be fun. That'd be like.
Yeah,
You know what's funny about this, right? They're meant to be professional comedians. You're meant to be, ribbing each other and poking the bear and dissing each other and just teasing each other all the time. But it's interesting how when people are dunking on Brendan or a fellow comic that he might like, it turns into you got to fight. Or maybe it's just a Brendan thing. Why is it? Why is it fighting? Why can't we just trash each other? Because clearly they're not going to be friends. So why can't I just rib the guy and make fun of him? Why does it have to always be a fight? Why does it have to always be violence? That's a very interesting way of kind of turning and twisting it, right? Like, why can't you just be funny? Simple as that, right? Why can't it just be funny jokes, a little bit of lighthearted banter, a little bit of ribbing here and there, and, whatever it may be. He can have his get back on his podcast. I do my get back here and there. Then we just keep it moving. But why does it have to be a physical altercation? And maybe he's just joking, but I always find it funny because I think Brenda said the same thing, right? Oh, if you see me in person, you wouldn't say that. It's like, yeah, of course I wouldn't say that. You're a flipping trained fighter, right? You know how to kill people with your bare hands. Clearly, no one's gonna say that to your face. Who would? We're not idiots. And also, we don't lack in manners. You know what I mean? Of course, we're not going to say it to your face, but it's jokes on the internet. Jokes on the internet shouldn't want to make you get in your flipping purple Porsche and drive down to somebody's house and want to clobber them with a hammer. That shouldn't be what you want to do. If you're a professional comedian, you should be able to use your words, right? That's what you should be able to do. Bloody hell, these guys, man.
Why don't you guys do like a charity boxing BAMPF?
Why don't we do competing stand-up?
You and Schaub?
Yeah.
You said it here first.
No, I'm just throwing it out there.
You and
Or like
Schaub.
a roast battle.
You do roast battle. You and Schaub do a roast battle. This is actually great.
Do you think this would be like Hulk Hogan in his prime?
Okay.
Competing on Maple Leaf Wrestling on a Saturday morning against like Jobber A.
Oh, you're talking about the Virgin stuff.
It's
unrelatable.
Does Volkanovski fight the
Also, that wrestling was fake, right?
I was trying to understand it. I was trying to understand it so much. It was just like, I'm alone.
I get it.
See,
Doug is very stressed over it.
Yeah, you see, he does get it. He gets what he's trying to do. He's trying to railroad his joke and basically trying to get him to move away from dunking on Brendan because he's his friend. But he doesn't have anything, funny to say or retort or anything or ease off. So he's just trying to drown him out with the laughs and the sneeze slapping and all that sort of dumb stuff that he does, isn't it? But yeah, Ariel Helwani, absolute masterful performance on Flagrant. Ex-UFC. I do recommend you check out the entire show. There's a title of it. Hopefully you see it here on the screen. That's the title of the entire show. Look at it. It's nearly 4 hours long, brothers. 4 hours long, an absolute brutality. Most of it isn't Ariel. Most of it is all these other great, illustrious fighters. So definitely check it out. It was very fun. Cool to see in general. And just in general, when we have fighters on these programs, on these platforms that aren't necessarily 100% knee deep in MMA and analysis. It's always fun because it brings out a different side in them. Really, really good. Even Kamaru Usman, man, after that, you know, crazy knockout, he's there willing to get joked on and have some fun. It's all banter, all really good vibes, man. I really recommend you check it out. Really, really fun show. So big up Flagrant for putting that together. But Ariel definitely is the champ. He wins that. There he is, the co-CEO in the place doing his damn thing and reminding everybody that he's legitimately funnier than some of these people who profess to be stand-up comics. Crazy, crazy, crazy. What are people saying here? Brendan should have moved towards achievable goals like not interrupting his friends. Big up everybody in the chat. Brendan reacted. Has Brendan reacted to this? No, of course he's not. Brendan's not going to react well to this anyway. Let's guess his reactions. Number one, he's going to throw out some lame, indirect sort of insult thing. He'll probably want to address it because he doesn't want to kick the hornet's nest again and get Ariel to go after him because Ariel is relentless. So he's probably going to. I think he's going to ignore it. I think he's going to ignore it. He's going to say something like a sly thing here or there, but he's going to ignore it for the most part. He's not going to say anything because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to doesn't want to aggravate a situation with no qualms. I think so personally, but what do I know? You know, what do I know? And then moving on quickly here, I think we play this last clip and then we got to bounce. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one. So there's this clip, right? Where can I find it? Where is it? Let's see if I can find it. Oh, where is it? Come on, where is it? So boom, boom, boom. Where is it? I can't find it on my thing. Oh man. Oh, let me double check and see if I got it on here. I should have it because I remember I just chucked it up on here as something to talk about before I move on. Let me just quickly find it. Bear with me a second. I apologize for the interruption and the radio silence, but I promise you it will be worth it once I find it. I promise you. It's definitely here in my tab somewhere, but I just forgot where I put it. Okay, it's not. Oh, there it is. I found it. So let's just put this. What should I do with this? Should I move it or should I move it? I'll put it here. Actually, no. Let me open it up. Let me go here. Let me put this on there, and let me just open it up properly. Bish bash bosh. Bear with me a second, and then you're gonna see what I mean. I need to pull up this clip from Morning Kombat, right? I think this is absolutely brilliant. But it's weird because I tried to find the clip on the actual YouTube, but I think it's been taken off. I think they might have deleted the clip, which is weird. So I've taken this clip from the Friday Kids subreddit, but I think the actual original clip where it's been taken from might have been deleted from the live stream, which is bizarre to say the least, right? Really, really bizarre. But let's see if this is true. So, what I was going to talk about, there's a clip here from Morning Kombat from the show that just happened I think a couple of hours ago, where they're obviously previewing UFC 281 and doing their usual thing. Luke Thomas and Bryan Campbell, excellent show. Morning Kombat, flipping brilliant, really good analysis, really good fun, banter and stuff between both of the guys. And there's this segment on their show called DM for Donks, where they get fans to submit questions in there, right? And can you guess what subreddit this guy that DM'd that sent in a submission on flipping DM for Dunks on Morning Kombat is from? Can you guess what subreddit it's from? And can you guess some of the references? And the funny thing is, like I said, I tried to find this clip in the original live stream video, and I think it's been taken off. I think so. And also, why I think so, because when you do a live stream, I don't know if you know, if you do a live stream on YouTube, and obviously I got the chat running, if you edit the video in any way, the live chat replay won't be available. Either that or you turn it off, obviously, if you don't want the live chat replay. But usually people have the live chat replay there so you can watch it, you know, on demand, as DSP would say, after the fact, and scan through the chat if you want to. But when I checked the chat next to this video, it wasn't available. So I think it's been edited out. I think Luke might have, you know, made an executive decision to, you know, he knows where his bread's buttered. He knows that Brendan kind of helped him get this Showtime gig. So he doesn't want to, you know, piss off the boss, the kind of boss. So, but this is funny. And guess where this flipping caller is from? What subreddit community he might be representing? This is flipping brilliant.
And 2 Changs is our final entry into this, Luke. Let's hear from him. What? No, he can't park his truck over there. We've told him that multiple times. He's too blockbuster.
Are you doing bits
hey
and
there, guys.
skits?
How's it going, CEO? Luke, how you doing? Just wanted to ask, DMs from Donks. So, when Josh Thompson isn't listening to Sum 41 and yelling into the void, I'll need to start promoting the promotion I work for, because I'm not good at my job. Does he have a point? Is it y'all's fault you're not promoting Bellator better? Also, do you think PFL in their smart cage, because it is pretty impressive?
I suggest deafness is always a good approach to law enforcement officers. You shut up.
That cage is so fucking smart, bro!
Has overtaken Bellator as the #2 MMA promotion in America. Cheers!
Wow, there was some inside baseball going on there. Wow.
Cheers. He called him honestly, that legitimately might be one of the best fan submissions I've ever seen in my entire life. Honestly, the start is even the greatest. Look at this. Look at the start. This is absolutely brilliant.
What? No, he can't park his truck over there. We've told him that multiple times. He's too blockbuster.
Are you doing bits
hey
and
there, guys.
skits?
How's it going, CEO? Luke, how you doing?
He called him Luke. Honestly, big up this flipping legend. Big up this big up this PF Chang's general. Honestly, man, you deserve all the props, man. Whoever you are, big up you. 2 Changs, I guess maybe he's named there on the top left. Absolutely incredible performance. Absolutely incredible. CEO, Luke, the chairs. Honestly, man, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I thought I'd end it on that because I thought that was absolutely brilliant and maybe was another reminder as to why we maybe have to share the CEO responsibilities between Ariel Helwani and Bryan Campbell, because they're both absolutely relentless, they're absolutely brilliant at what they do, and they keep the fire burning, they keep the pressure consistent, and they just have some fun, man. It's not even that serious, really. It's obviously nice and funny to laugh at these people, but in general it is just a bit of fun. They're meant to be professional comics. They should be able to laugh at themselves and be a little bit self-deprecating and whatnot. But when it comes, especially comes to someone like Brendan, he's extremely thin-skinned, so that's not going to be a possibility. But I thought in general that was always fun and always amazing anyway. But yeah. Anyway, that is a show. It's flipping 6 a.m. here in the UK. Absolutely brutal work schedule and streaming schedule I have going on at the moment. I only have myself to blame, but thank you regardless for everybody that's joined in. There's absolutely nearly 100 of you now in there. Oh, there was 100, now there isn't. Now it's 92, 93. So thank you for those that joined in and ducked out. But regardless, big up everybody that joined in, that was here. If you're here watching me and hearing my voice, then please, if you can help, make sure that you smash the like button for me. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you liked what you heard and you want to come back another time, why not subscribe? That'd also be appreciated. And as I mentioned before, I've got a new episode of my Patreon show out at the moment, which is the bonus episode of my show, the podcast I do. So if you want to check out my Patreon, then please do that also. You see that there on the screen. I've got a new episode uploaded at the moment called The Cancellation of the Tyler Creator. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. My Patreon's only $1 to subscribe on there. You can subscribe for $1 on my Patreon. I've already got 23 people on there already. 31 big bucks per month. Don't play with me. Tim Dillon, I'm coming for you, right? Join my Patreon, $1 a month only. Join in there, easy going. Apart from that, thank you so much for joining and for hanging out with me. It's been a pleasure to have your company. Honestly, I've enjoyed every single minute of it. Big up the chat, big up Uche, big up Gabrielle, big up Koila, big up Marty Moose, big up Gimme Ski Fingers, whatever that means. Big up Zondo 41. Big up Tenuchi, Clit something. Big up Dark Web J. Big up Pavilion End, Jose Lopez, Gerard Mellerick, who's always here. Big up everybody here in the chat. Honestly, I appreciate every single one of you people for hanging out with me as per usual. I don't know why you listen to my redacted views and opinions, but I do appreciate it nonetheless. So big up every single one of you. I really did enjoy it. It was absolute fun, and we'll do it again very, very soon, my friends. Salute.